staying with us and working this bougie job, and I have the Wi-Fi right next to his head and where he sleeps in the bed, so I need to unplug that after the
Damn,
like, hey, dude, hold on, dude.
that's crazy. All right, we're live.
All right,
How's
so
my picture coming through?
what's up?
How's my picture coming through?
Good. Your face is hella close to the camera, but it's crisp. It's a crispy face.
Okay, let me see. Because I was able to
unless
see
you
it.
want it, unless you want it that close. Dude, what's good with the aliens? What's good with the aliens? First and foremost,
Okay. Am I still really close? Because I can't see anything. I can see
your
you, but
your camera's facing the other direction now.
is it good now?
No, you're not. The camera's not even facing your face. Oh, there you go. Oh, almost. Ah, there you go.
Okay.
You can't see your face.
No, let me see. Because I did before, like when I had it in. For some odd reason, it's not.
What's up, welcomers? Hello. My name is Keith. I'm talking to my boy Alchemy right now. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Probably aliens. Probably
Probably. Who
Wendigos.
knows?
Probably chaos magic. Probably
Yeah,
Thoth.
I
Zombies.
do.
AI.
Let's see.
Colloidal gold for saving Anunnaki planets from destruction by mining them from a foreign planet where they turned the local population into somewhat sentient beings so that they could mine the gold for them, aka Anunnaki.
This is our first time doing this new YouTube setting. Go live with
I,
another
I'm I'm
computer.
I'm liking it because if you go live vertically, YouTube puts you. That's Sage. I'm saging the room right now. Sage.
You're good. You're good.
You know how that algorithm is, dude. Friggin'
Yeah.
TikTok sees smoke in the algorithm and they shut you down. It's crazy. But when you go live vertically on YouTube, it puts you into the shorts feed. So that's also another reason why I want to start using YouTube's
Okay.
going live through YouTube instead of doing it horizontally,
Okay.
which is huge.
Let me see. Let me push my laptop back, and hopefully, I'm not too close to the
Oh yeah,
camera
but
there.
just open your laptop and give us some background music because I do. I brought my little boombox right here. Can I get this running or what?
Because that's what I have my phone stand on my laptop. Let's see. Okay, we should be good now. I shouldn't be too close.
Nah, you're fine, brother. I was mostly giving you a hard time.
Oh, okay.
Corey Tuggle, what y'all think of the Anunnaki? Oh, dude, don't get us started, Corey Tuggle.
No, I
What
don't
we think
know.
of the
What do I think?
Anunnaki. Rachel Stevens, hello. I think personally they were using the gold to stay young. Possibly. Hey, man, let us. I'm just stopping by real quick. Oh, hello, Zero the Infinite. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. This is my boy.
Whatever gold is to you.
Whatever gold, what?
I said, whatever gold is to you, we put the value on it.
Oh my God! Unless you're talking colloidal gold.
Yeah. Got some in the cabinet back there. Got a big jar of it.
Are you still ripping? Are you still kicking up that colloidal gold?
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
nice. That's awesome, man. I love it.
Look at
Nice. I
that.
wish I. That's awesome.
It's pretty. It's actually once you get the hang of it, it's pretty decently easy. On a simple level. There's obviously variants.
You can nerd out
Method.
to the. Yeah, I feel yeah. Yeah.
So there's so many different ways. I learned from a very high level alchemist on that level. Good friend of mine,
Mhm.
Tim Eck.
But
He's got a
essentially,
Eck
it's
camp.
running electricity through
Yep.
water with gold inside of it.
Electrolysis. I use. Let me see. I can go get my gear.
We're if you're still here, Corey Tuggle, the Anunnaki. I love reading the stories about the Anunnaki because this the ancient Mesopotamia. I don't even know where to start, dude. But um, I don't know. There's so much evidence construction, specifically construction. I was just listening to a podcast with what's his name, the bright insight guy was on Joe Rogan, and it was a pretty cool podcast to do. He just
So if you guys can see it, this is basically, this is a basic right here. I have it's you can plug it into the wall. This is the black side, the negative, and then this is the positive. Whatever you're making is going to go on here. And the other mineral, so like if I'm making gold, I'll put gold here and then like copper or something here, and that's going to hold the charge so I can make the gold. Easy stuff.
dang.
And I put it in distilled water. So I'll hook those into like a big jar, mason jar, clip them up, and then you know I'll make sure it's distilled water. I'll get my ppm meter out, and it should
Nice.
be like
Slightly
essentially
acidic or what?
essentially 5 ppm. The distilled water, depending on where you get, like it should be 5 ppms or lower, because like if I get mine from Walmart because I don't make it,
Uh
so it'll
huh.
come in those jugs, and those jugs are plastic, so they'll hold some sort of part million, some sort of
But
you know.
I've tested those plastic distilled bottles, and they've come up 0 on my meter, on my ppm
Ah,
meter.
see,
Yeah, yeah.
see that.
I'm sure
There
there's
you go.
microplastics maybe under that. Like who knows when it
Yeah.
comes to the accumulation. But as far as those meters, yeah, I was making I mixed elemental sulfur with lye
Ah,
and water, and the heat from the lye and the water melted the elemental sulfur into a liquid form, so you could apply it on your plants. I don't know if you've ever seen that before
no, I haven't.
in
Okay,
horticulture. It's pretty wild, dude.
that's dope.
It was super dope. It's actually super dope. Yeah, because when you mix the water and lye, it gets super hot. So you feel the sulfur. It's like basically sulfur is
Man,
an anti everything. It's good for pest resistance. But to get it into a liquid form takes like a whole commercial setup. But this Jadom dude discovered you just mix lye and water, and that gets hot enough to melt the sulfur. It's pretty gangster. You got to use a wooden stick. It's like some straight up alchemy, dude. It's some straight up alchemical processes for you.
that's dope. I'm gonna
It's
have to
super
get
dope.
some next growing season. I'll have to get some biochar from you.
Oh
I was gonna
yeah.
get a whole bag just for the whole garden. It's pretty like I have a pretty big garden outside, so it's like, like that's one thing, putting back into the soil. That's what I want to do.
All
That's one
right.
thing,
Yeah,
like
I can send you some
you
bags. If
know,
you need a lot, you might be better off making your own if you want to fill like an entire garden. I can teach you how to
yeah,
make the
yeah,
biochar. It's not
shit,
too
I can
hard.
do that. I'm a student. I love to learn.
Oh yeah,
I
same
love to
man.
learn. I have pretty big garden, so I would need a considerable amount. I know that much. But yeah, it's getting colder here, but like the weather's playing tricks on us as per usual for here, for Illinois. So, like I thought back in October, like that's the last time I cut the grass. I'm like, yeah, I should be good. Should be able to, put the mower up. Shit's growing again. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
40 to 5 degrees here. It's like, what?
It's
It snowed
45.
last week. Yeah, it's like 45 degrees, and so it's probably like, we could probably get away with light jackets around here. About
That's
45
not too
degrees.
bad. 45 for Illinois right now. I feel like it gets cold as
Yeah,
hell
it's
up there.
normally fucking now it's normally around this time like 20s at the highest.
That's all global warming. The Anunnaki are coming back, dude, on boats.
Mm. So like
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the chat. I'm talking to my boy Alchemy. Give us some topics to
talk
talk about. We are men of letters. We are Renaissance folk. We definitely
yeah,
dabble in all that is to be dabbled with.
all
Uh,
the occult, we're here to master certain things.
oh, dude, we're currently mastering chaos magic, which I guess is things we've already been mastering,
Yeah,
but
we've already done it. We can see it as we've already done it, so we're just remembering.
we're
Remember
remembering,
to
and we're a new fresh lens. I'm enjoying it.
yeah.
It's pretty dope.
Like so with chaos magic, one of my favorite forms of chaos magic is hyper sigils, because
Oh, dude,
I
yeah.
figure that beyond everything is probably, and I really don't want to make this claim, but once you study it enough and you start to do it, well, because you're always doing it. You're a musician,
To a
and
degree.
I'm always
Right, right.
writing.
Oh, damn, yeah.
So basically, it's probably one of the strongest forms of magic out there. just because of the large scale of influence that you could have
Yeah.
in your life
Yeah.
at one time. Because normally with other forms of magic, you have to kind of, okay, let me get my money right, let me get this, let me get that. I could spin stories, saying because I'm a writer, about and how you get it. You have to sigilize everything. So I take my intent and I sigilize it through, like, I turn myself into a character, or you could say an alter ego, right? So I turn myself
Mhm.
into a character in my own book, right?
Yep.
And I understand what I desire, and I create a world around those intents and desires, like you were reading a novel when we were kids or something, or there are adult novels out there, so like just like that, and that will affect my world overall. I build a world that will then spill over into what they call the waking state all at one
And your
time.
and your and your so your fictional world is is like your etheric programming
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
want to passively spill over into this life.
So basically, like, this is
Where do
why
you hold
Hollywood
that?
is so
Do you have any physical? Do you like have a map drawn out, like a map of the world? You know, every world's got its map, the fucking Tolkien map or what the Harry
yeah,
Potter map
that's
of
what
the
you would want to
castle.
do. Plan it out, map it out, and kind of just see it. It's so basically it's like you're a musician, so your songs are hypersidual. So basically, like, if you understand the youth and say rap music, why current rap music, a lot of those artists are dying from pills, and a lot of what they're saying in their music is becoming their life, and the record labels know this, and they're just co-signing it, signing them off, and taking the insurance money because they know if I get them to say X, Y, and Z, it probably will come true. It'll probably
Hmm.
become their life. Hypersigil. So you can even go back in all of your music and say, did any of this manifest in my life? Any of these songs that I wrote?
Yeah, it has to. But what I'm learning now, as of the past couple days, is there's muscles that you can work on that enhance the hypersigil. And it's
Yeah,
talking certain meditations. You shouldn't even be dabbling with sigils until you can meditate for at least 15 minutes without letting your thoughts stray longer than one or two thoughts at a time. Because sometimes when you meditate, you'll like, it's been 12 seconds and I've been down this rabbit hole like shit. And then you should be able to hold an imaginary sound in your head for 15 minutes, like the ohm or whatever, any other
yeah.
various form. And you like a whole bunch of things that you should do that build the muscle to plug the sigil so that it's rooted deeply in the subconscious. And that was one thing that I hadn't. I guess make perfect sense. Like I play, like you were an athlete too, weren't you?
hmm
Telling me that you're an athlete. Like you got to hit the
Yeah, yeah.
gym. You know, if you want to play better, you got to work on your fucking stamina. You got to work on your speed. You got to work on your endurance. Like,
That's definitely at the novice level, like when most people come into magic, and it's also on the adept level as well. So that's something, just being able to, what you described there with stillness, just a good
mhm.
stillness meditation. Being able to, like, let your thoughts pass, because that's a good topic to talk about with magic and things of that nature. Because there's a lot of people, like, I'm back in school and I'm studying to be a psychotherapist, and one thing that I see a lot of people need help with is that right there, letting thoughts pass. So, like, people who have, like, very bad OCD, like, OCD isn't like where people have to be all tidy and shit. That's like what they call the compulsion. But like a lot of people have like these intrusive thoughts, a lot of intrusive thoughts that are plaguing them, and so most of the world just kind of let them go by because they're wild shit. I'm talking about intrusive, like wild shit
Uh-huh,
that
uh-huh,
would
uh-huh.
make you think certain things about yourself, they're to realize that that's not really them, because the mind, there are the thoughts that you choose, and then there are the thoughts that just pass by that comes through,
Yeah, 100%.
and you have to realize what's you and what's not. Like, they say there's a difference between a thought and an action, hence why some people can talk your ear off about what they're going to do and then they never do it. What I'm saying? They say speak it to existence, but did you put the physical action in?
Oh, or are you speaking it often enough? Which is why the subconscious mind is so important.
Yeah.
Which is why you got to make your fantasy world, because you got to make sure that it's broadcasted
Yeah.
all the time, which the
So,
conscious mind
so this is why
cannot
the
do.
two keys of a hypersigil is the author has to read their book. Like, so if you're writing, they have to they have to immerse themselves through every day through, okay, I know I'm at this chapter 5, so I'm gonna go
Oh,
back
that's
to
dope.
chapter 1. Like this is just I'm just like paraphrasing here. So say I'm writing a book and I'm
It's a
on
beautiful
a novel.
paraphrase.
Yeah. Say I'm writing a novel, I'm on chapter 5. I'm gonna go back and read chapter 1 through 4, immerse myself into that world, feel it,
Yeah,
sound, smell,
yeah.
sight, everything, and then I can go write the next chapter, however I'm doing it, immerse myself in
That's
that,
that's so cool, man.
and
I
then
do that with music.
yes, and then you do that. Once you get done, then you're gonna give it to the world so they can immerse themselves in it, so it can immerse themselves into the inner planes of other people. And so, who you can study is there's a video by Grant Morrison. Brandy sent me that video years ago, like 2020. Um,
Oh shit, nice.
and it changed my fucking world because I'm like, yo, this is what we're all doing. If you have an art form, you're doing this. You're doing it any type of way. What are the stories that you tell? But like when you see what happened with Grant Morrison, he's the author of The Invisible. He's an occultist and he's the author of The Invisibles, Batman, certain levels of Batman,
Really?
Superman. Yeah, you check it out. And what he did was, if you check, I'll send you the video. Look up Grant Morrison hyper sigils, and he studied
Mm.
Crowley and Sparry, Austin Sparry, and he wrote the comic. Like I said, he wrote the comic book The Invisibles, and he put himself as the main character. And through what he did was he goes and he puts this main character, which is him, through all these shamanic trials, where the character gets a bust lung, almost dies of sepsis, and then a month later he finds himself in the hospital going through the same exact things as that character. Were like, but in the way that the reality could bring it through. So he's in the hospital with a bust lung, almost dying of
Like in real
sepsis.
life?
Yeah, real life. That's how
Dang,
you see what I'm saying. That's why I say your artwork. Go back to your all your songs and see. Let me see what I'm writing.
bro.
Because this is how it works.
So be careful.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So this is how So this is how you can change your life. So then what he does is he got into a breakup with his girlfriend around that time.
We'll,
No,
we'll
no, let
answer
me go
some
back.
questions to you guys. We'll answer some questions. My bad, Alchemy. There were some questions in
So
the chat room, but I just want to let you guys know. We'll get to them. We'll get to them. Thank you for
okay,
asking them.
you're good. So basically, then what happens is he writes himself out of the situation while he's in the hospital. Boom, same thing. Same thing happens. He's What's up, Stephanie Ramirez?
Stephanie,
Um,
hello.
uh,
Rachel, I'm
but he
okay.
he writes himself out of the situation, right? And then basically he's like, okay, now I'm gonna play around with this because he almost died, but now he's on the other side. So now he's seeing like, okay, let me see what I can play with this. So he gets into a breakup with his girlfriend, and so what he does is instantly, and he talks about this in the video, is he puts a chick that looks just like that, has her same specifications, but he didn't make it her specifically. Then he starts meeting a drove of women with the same color of hair, with this. They start coming into his reality. The same woman with the same type of hair, the same type of this, or the same qualities as her. It's the same thing
Dang.
as when he got put in the hospital. So, like what you're seeing here, like you follow the patterns, is okay. This is a different level of magic
Well, maybe
because
they're NPCs, dude.
I'm telling you, bro, this is different. So you can write a song, bro. Like think like I would say key for doing a little project. Like the next time you're writing a song, think
Uh
about
huh.
something. Think about your heart's desires. Think about something that you really might
I
like to
love it.
happen, or something small. And then you
I will
sigilize it
do that.
through writing a song, and then going and writing and immersing yourself in that process of recording it with the homies. And then the next time you're playing at a bar or wherever you're playing, you give that to the people and you play that song over and over and over. This is how Hollywood does it. This is the movie industry. This is the music industry. This is what they're doing. That's why it's so ritualistic. They're not just dropping
Damn, bro.
albums.
Oh, yeah. That's why they have
They
their mudras and their
this is human.
chants.
We can do it
Uh,
too
their
because we're
repetition.
already yeah. They know this science. So me, it's time. I'm so at the point where it's just time to do more of it. So now I'm working on some stuff for myself. Wow, and that's all I will say. But it's gonna be good.
That's
I'm
great. That's
really
great.
playing around with this shit. Like, okay, if I'm really a magician, let me experiment. Because being a magician is all about experiment.
Yeah, because you're a scientist. You're a scientist of the spirit.
Yeah. So it's like all about. Let me see. It's like okay, next time I write a blog, I can write a short story, a poem of this, and then well, I have the intent, I have this, how you release the sigil is by putting the artwork out. As we're talking about hyper sigils, just like we would a regular sigil if we were just to burn it and then forget it, or just set it and forget it. It'd be the
Hmm.
same thing releasing the art. There's a lot of artists who, like this is why there's a thing in rap where they say, "Oh, they don't really have all that money," but then a couple of months later they get it because they're talking about it. So we think they're lying, but they're actually sigilizing.
I didn't. Yeah, I swear to God, I noticed that when I was still 12, 13 years old. I was like, how are these dudes? This is their first release, but they're already rapping about having bands and shit. Like you had
Yeah,
you were still living in mom's basement when you produced this, like working at JC
exactly.
Penney. What do you mean you were hanging with her and driving this and bought that? And
It's
I was
hyper sigil.
uh,
They teach them this
funny.
shit, bro. And these are things we automatically do naturally. It takes us back to the childlike state. Because think about when we
Yeah.
were kids, we created these worlds when we were kids. When we were playing with our dolls, when we were playing with our action figures, creating
Dopamine,
you know, imaginary
laughter,
friends.
lots of
This is
laughter,
all,
which is
yeah,
crucial.
all chaos magic.
Hmm.
So chaos magic comes from the feminine realm and the childlike, mentality or the subconscious of how when we're just playing, like we didn't give a fuck that this shit wasn't real. In our mind, our GI Joes, that shit was real.
It wasn't. Yeah. It. Yeah. You couldn't give a fuck because there was out of the question. It was. What do you mean this isn't real? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What do you mean? Yeah. Just shut up, man. You know. You clearly don't know how to play the game. Like, what kind of question is that, bro?
Exactly.
Fucking up my
So
vibe right
it's
now.
like, we have many forms of art. So I would question, to everybody, do you have an art form? It doesn't have to be painting. An art form could be martial arts. It could be cooking. It could be whatever. Like you could cook some food with an intent and serve it to your family with that intent, and they're gonna ingest that hypersexual.
Hmm. We could
Then you
say
could
anything.
record it.
Anything that. And that too. Anything y- that gives you an opportunity to find peace and like a sort of trance like state. You going for walks. I know I go for walks
Yeah,
and I like is a sort of meditation. Um, man, that thought. That thought's not in my head when I'm creating art. I know I've
yeah,
thought of it before, but it slipped, and I don't know why. I put out this entire last album that was meaningful and it was from the heart and it was like
yeah,
with passion, but it wasn't with the intent of hyper sigil. I'm
yeah.
about to run
Exactly.
some shit, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So there's the unconscious side, and then there's the
Uh,
conscious side. There's the I know I'm doing it versus the I don't know. I'm just, what I'm saying. So then you can kind of compare and contrast the work and life.
dude. You've inspired me. Thank you kindly, because that was a good reminder.
You
I
know.
used to put haphazardly would put various crystals on my keyboard when I played, because
Yeah.
when I get done with shows, I feel like taxed on multiple levels, and I feel like the artist gets some juju from the audience, but the audience gets a lot of juju from the artist too. So I put a
Yeah.
crystal to like absorb some of the, you know what I mean, on my keyboard
Yeah.
to
I
absorb
see
a
what you
source
mean.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's how you do it. And that's how, like, what do you think? Like, so think about what we just talked about. Now put one of those artists in the mainstream in a stadium. What are they doing? And they got crystals. 70,000 people, 15,000. Hell, one person enough is, as we know, is a big battery. One person. So think about 5,000, 10,000, or the bigger artists. They're, doing a tour that's going to play millions of people at the end of that tour. That's why they get paid so much money. That's what they're doing. They get to do the thing. They get to live life good, and the record label and all the people behind the curtain get to take that energy. That's why the
Mhm.
elite they live so long because they have these film stars and artists who can put themselves in front of us, take the energy, and give it to them, and
Dang,
they get a piece of it. You see what I'm saying? Energy harvesting 101.
I done been, seeing, done been done.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? That's just like it's all day. That's why they all pay, a basketball player 600 million. Let me see. But Jalen Brown on the Celtics, they just paid him like 300 some $1 million.
Dude, they tried to pay
Crazy.
Beyonce. Kamala tried to pay Beyonce for a little bit of juju, and it did not. Was
Yeah,
the guess it wasn't enough juju.
wasn't enough. But
Wasn't
think about
enough.
it. Beyonce has something called the Beehive. So she has a what you call a hive. A hive. If you talk about the tribe versus the hive, the hive is where everybody. It's like basically like a fan base where if you talk about that artist, a high, they're gonna go after you. But a tribe mentality is where everybody has their own opinion, everybody has their own individuality, and they come together on that. But a hive is there's the queen bee, and her frequency and vibration trickles down like the sun into all the other rays at the same frequency. And you go off script, you're gonna get flipped, you know.
Oh,
So that's another way that where it works. So then you have that. So when you think about the science and the magic all in one, it's like this is why I said hypersigils, it's like one of the biggest forms of magic because it combines all of the tradition. You can take any system of magic and insert it in there because it's chaos. So it can encompass anything, any tradition, anything, whatever it is your stopping
very
ground
eclectic.
is,
Very eclectic.
you know, and
Non
it's
non
going to,
dogmatic.
yeah, it's gonna work that way. And so it's all about doing it, at the end of the day, getting the work done.
We're talking to Alchemy,
And
Lady of Fire Poetry. You want
yeah,
to introduce yourself, brother? Introduce yourself. Everyone say hello to my boy Alchemy.
what up, guys? I'm Alchemy of Life. I've done many, many, many streams with Keith. I'm an alchemist. I have my own channel, my own business. Uh, Currently studying to be a psychotherapist, psychologist. I'm a mage, shaman of different things, but
Ooh,
I use the word
mage.
shaman very loosely. I use the word term shaman, but I do study a lot of shamanism ideologies and try to implement them in my own life personally, mainly personally, before anything.
Light side?
I always
A
say
little bit of light side magic? Mostly leaning on the light side magic?
on what
Ben Hudson, what's cracking on the light side?
I dabble in everything, because everything is everything. So I don't really get into it like black or white, but I can blur
Well,
the
yeah.
line.
Uh,
That's
the
you
way
know.
I use light and dark as light is influencing the self, and
Okay. I see what
dark is influencing the
you're saying.
external reality. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
I try to
So
stay with you there too. I know I should have preceded with that, but
yeah, well, I
if
would
you
say
stick
everything
with
starts on the lighter side. Then with self, everything, all the self.
uh huh
You know,
uh-huh.
like I could let me go get something. I'm gonna see a little sigil that I'm gonna turn into a hyper sigil because I'm gonna give it to the public, but something that I created with runes and stuff that anybody can use. It's like a doorway. I use it to
Let me see
turn
some of these
it.
questions while he finds his stuff. Focusing on the breath count as no thoughts. Sorry, that was from way earlier. Just me. If you're even still here, your question that's at the top of the comments.
I use
Um,
this to charge
honestly,
things.
Oh, the
So this is
ruins, dude.
this is the Feihu room. So I'm using that as the feminine. That's Freya's room. So it's luck, fertility, love, relationship, a lot of different things. But it's really good for money, wealth, manifestation. Then I have the Issa room. This is the room of meditation. So when you need to calm your mind, the Issa room looks like just a pillar or a phallus. I use that like if you're having a lot of negative thoughts or whatever. The Issa, you can meditate on the Issa rune and say Isa, Isa for 5-10 minutes and meditate on it. I have a 8-pointed star to keep the evil energies out. It's very powerful. There's a lot to it. I have, uh, as we know, the flower of life,
Mm,
creation, just right in the
Lotto,
middle of my
Lotto.
doorway. And then these little spots right here, red spots, are my blood.
Gangster. A little bit of blood magic.
Yeah. I like when I went to the hospital back in October, and I had some things going on. I stayed for like 4 days, and when I was in the ER at first, they gave me a vial of my own blood. Well, they took too much blood, and they're like, "Oh, I took too much blood," and they just threw it on me. I'm like, I'm in here writhing, and I was there going through things, and the first thing I think of is, I can imagine with that shit. They just gave me exactly what I
Hey,
wanted.
could you put that in a little vial, sir? Can you pass it? Put a little vial. Put a
Yeah,
little
just
baggie. Put a little sticker
yeah.
on it. Can you date it for me? Can you put a little date on
So
it?
I keep things like that, and I've learned that your blood is um it is the key. It is your life force. So it's the closest thing to the soul. We have it's got all the elements. So if you had a little blood and you put it on a candle and you're manifesting it, what that's going to draw that thing to you even more so. It'll be just like putting hair. Yeah, like it can't mess up. It can't have that that thing where the universe likes to troll. I say likes to troll a little bit. Like you should have been like that time you should have been actually specific, but you asked for something kind of general. It manifests
Yeah.
general. So things of that
No,
nature.
man.
Using
Dude, that's important. Yo, question: can you use chaos magic for peace? Yeah, the name chaos magic is kind of a misnomer. It's called textbook. Everyone's got their own interpretation, but textbook chaos magic is called as such because it pulls from everything and they leave behind the rest. So it's eccentric, it's chaotic. It's not. I thought it would meant chaos like the opposite of peace, and that's not what it means. It just means it's like neo paganism, very new. And if you read Buddhism, you're taking what you need from Buddhism. If you read the
yeah.
Bible, you're taking what you need from the
hmm
Bible. If you study
So
shamanism, then you take what you need from shamanism. And if you
yeah.
don't like something, then you leave it out. If it works for you, you run it. If it doesn't, you
So
leave it. Like it's very non-dogmatic, non doctrinal. It's very loose, but they take the principles from everything. It's got the hermetic
yes,
principles, kabbalistic,
everything.
shamanistic. It's like it's on par with everything that we're already studying. But
Everything becomes relative. So I would say, what is your definition of peace and what type of peace are you trying to obtain? And then once you go through that, then you will find out, you know, what form what form of chaos you can use to obtain that. You know, with me, I'm just going straight to the hypersigil. Like I'm not playing around at this point. I'm
I ain't even
32
fucking
now.
around. I'm just doing a
I'm not
hyper.
fucking around no
I'm
more.
manifesting a pyramid, and
You know what I'm saying? Like I, like say I wanted to be a doper magician, or say I wanted to more peace and just overall, say in America, I would write a story simply like me. I'm a writer. That's my first thing I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna write, or I'm gonna
right.
drop it on my blog, or I'm gonna write a novel. I'm gonna think of where I can drop it, where people will see it. So it'll be like the whole marketing aspect. This is the key behind marketing. I'm gonna put it in front of people. So I'm gonna think about that, and then I'm gonna think of, okay, what type of piece would I say want America to have, and I would configure a story that reflects those ideologies, and then I would, charge it with absorbing myself into that world. I would put myself into it. I would read it, and then I would release it by giving it to people and let it do its thing. Let it just unfold. Just go live your life because you'll start to see that that will become your life, or that will, what I'm saying? Or
Yeah,
you could, whatever your modality is, whatever modality you find, you put multiple things. You can take a sigil because chaos magic is really big on sigils,
it
and
is.
then
It is.
and
Sigils
then
aren't from chaos magic,
mhm,
but chaos magic uses sigils
yeah,
heavily.
exact very heavily as
Which I
it's
didn't
like
know.
formed
I
a
didn't
different,
know.
and then it takes other traditions and brings them in and build it, like it builds on it. But if
It
if
takes
you
thought
just
form
wanted to just
creation.
if you just wanted to abandon that and then do something else with that, that's chaos magic.
Mm.
It's like, a form of non-detachment in a way. Attachment but non-detachment. It
Rachel
teaches
Stevens,
you,
so hard to quiet the mind. I, this is why we practice.
yeah. So like stillness meditations are key. And one thing that I've learned,
Oh,
studying psychotherapy and studying, going back to school, and
water is life, Ben.
and studying to, getting into psychotherapy, is a lot of people have OCD and they don't know it. It's
Yeah.
like, 'cause a lot of people have these intrusive thoughts that they think they're them and they're not. That's the, like, the evil monkey mind, and it's just like one thing you'll find out is most of those terrible things, like, they'll have these subjects who have these blatant, like, fucked up, effed up thoughts for, like, a decade, and none of those things they acted on 0 of those things, and none of those things happened, so it's like, "Okay, what do we have here? Ah, these things aren't real." Because they tell you in manifestation, if you think it, think it, think it, they don't have, but it's not always like that, especially if it isn't coming from the true self.
And
And
especially
so
because we live in a world where there's other people trying to imagine their own things. It's not like we live in a vacuum, you know? We got 7 billion
exactly,
people all blasting their own personal, whether
exactly.
subconscious or
So
conscious
a
sigils
lot of
into
these thoughts
reality.
are probably people. They're probably, coming through one of these people's clairs, and it's coming from other people, and they're picking up on it, and it's just not them. So what you do to quiet the mind is, the next time you're in meditation, whether it's a thought you want to have or thought you don't want to have, just don't give it any energy. Like in OCD training, one of the first things they tell you is, one of the top things they're telling people is they're ruminating over these negative thoughts that make them feel a certain type of way because they would never act on these things or do those things. They know they're not that person, but why is their mind bombarded? So they tell them rumination on these thoughts is what's causing it, not the thought themselves. It's not the thought itself. That's the trick. That's Thoth. This is why Thoth is a trickster, because he is on one side. The other side, he'll trick you with thoughts. He'll get you to think you're something that you're not. And these things will never happen, but it can drive people mad. So what they learn is to you have to. It's almost like back in school when we were young, when somebody tried to, like, you know maybe bully somebody, and that person just wasn't giving the bully the time of day, like they're doing it with their words, and the bully can never really get that person to engage, so it never went anywhere. So if you don't engage with these things, that it's hard to not engage with fucked up things that come across people's minds, or just like even a positive thought. You know, just don't engage. Just you see it, you say, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's just mine, gunk. Okay, whatever," and go back to
But
what
it
you're
does
doing.
help. But it does help
Yeah,
when you get your practices and you get the knowledge of it, what you're saying. Like,
ex-
oh, that's right. I don't have to dwell on that. Like, I can let
exactly.
that go. I can cut that out.
hmm
I
That's
can
what it's
I
given
can
me.
realize that I'm even having these thoughts in the first place. Because sometimes we'll have thoughts and we'll dwell on them for hours or
Yes.
lifetimes without even consciously realizing that we're dwelling on them, and they just eat at our get gray
Yeah.
hairs. It's got to have a physical counterpart. We get gray hairs, we get hypertension, we get fucking
hmm
heart
Yes.
disease. You know, our
Exactly.
bodies are redlining 24/7 because we. That's why I like chaos magic a lot too, is because it involves so much psychology, so much of like the mind. You know what I mean? It's something that we can
hmm
conceptualize and figure out to a degree. You know what I mean? Um,
Exactly. And that's the part that got me into, the shaman aspect of it, and um, the psychology aspect. That's why, I'm studying to be a psychotherapist,
That's pretty dope,
because I
man.
know a lot of people need help, bro. A lot of people, like, I figured this shit out for me. But a lot of people ain't there, man, and they
I
probably,
know.
without some type of help, they probably won't figure it out. So I want to offer alternative solution in that field because it's pretty left brained. So it's pretty, they're just gonna try to psychoanalyze you. But what about bringing Reiki practices and sound and this and that into the healing
Energy
space?
work. Energy
All of
work.
that with the psychotherapy work, and you see how, because the idea is they shouldn't be in therapy for 10 fucking years. They shouldn't need me. I should always have new clients, new patients. I shouldn't always have the same one over and over and over unless they actually need that help. You know, are you really actually, at first people really feel relieved talking to a counselor and things of that nature, but then they become dependent on it, and therapists know that, and a lot of therapists, they take advantage of that, and they don't really go beyond a certain level of that therapy. They only get a certain level of help.
Damn, really? Like
That's
that's
why, yeah,
what some people will play at. Some therapists.
yeah. That's why they'll
Unfortunately.
have some people be like, I've been in therapy for 10 years. We're like, okay, bitch. Damn, 10 years? You couldn't get it done in 5?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's what you're going for. Some people can go just for maybe for maintenance,
Yeah.
but
And really that's really what the therapy should teach you on your own. At some point you're gonna have to become your own therapist.
I see. Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah. A
That's also
sign of a good psychologist therapist, they'll get you to a point where you don't need them anymore.
I see. That's yeah,
You
that's
see what I'm saying?
fair.
To where you've done enough of your sessions to where you've got the tools, you've got the this, you've got it all out. Now you know from the maintenance that you can do on yourself, it's really just, whatever you were going through, whatever you needed that for, it will, present itself through that work. And so I believe magic is heavily tied to it. A lot of people don't think so, but I know so, because I've been through it myself personally. It's still a day-to-day thing. I still know that, okay, I can have a certain type of thought and I know not to ruminate on it. And it's easy for me not to. It's easy for me to just let shit go now and understand that it's all about knowing who you are. And so people who have tons of intrusive thoughts that scare them, they just have to know that's not the fact that you're ruminating on the fact that, like, man, that's not me, that you should know that should tell you that you wouldn't act on it because there's people right now acting on those things, but you're not. And these people aren't really having those thoughts. They're just doing the things. So I see a lot of the people who have like OCD, really good hearted people who are just trying to find some sort of peace within themselves. A lot of people, that's really what it stems from, a lot of, thought. So then what happens is a compulsion happens. So your compulsion is what you do to get away from that thought. You're like, get the fuck out of here, or
Mm,
they'll start cleaning, excessive cleaning. That's where the whole OCD and cleaning comes from. They'll do something. That's the compulsion
interesting.
aspect.
Yeah, that's the
And the
avoidance.
idea is
That's the
not to
avoidance.
ruminate. And that is like the
A
idea of
lifelong
stillness.
pursuit.
Yeah, stillness meditation teaches that. It's like, you know, a lot of these thoughts are going to go by. So what? Just sit there and just let them. And that is the art of truly letting go of control and surrendering to the divine feminine. Is when you're having that those thoughts, whether they're positive or negative, when you're in that meditation, just let them go by. You're nothing because you are not
or
your thoughts.
or positive, which is say that for the people in the back because that's those are the ones we get stuck on. We get stuck on the thoughts that are positive or
Yeah,
make us feel good, but they can also be a distraction. They can also be a
mhm.
rummage, an unnecessary rummage.
I say we are
True
not
non attachment and judgment. Judge is
yeah,
neither good nor bad.
we are not our thoughts. There's a difference between our thoughts and an action. That's why they say actions speak louder than words. And so these thoughts that you're having, you're not going to speak them. So you're not speaking them and you're not acting on them. You're good. So you just have to know not to give them any power. It's like a bully. that once you hit it in the mouth, it'll go away.
Mm,
One time you see in all the movies when they stand to the bully that one time and they never have an issue. You're like, oh, I should have did that earlier. Oh, I'm
mhm.
free. I'm liberated. You know. So for all the people out there that need that little solace, I'm not a mental health practitioner, but I'm just someone who's been there and who's been able to help myself. But I am studying to be. I'm studying to
Yeah,
be.
yeah. The world, and the world thanks you for that, man. The world thanks you for that.
You know.
Question, question. Somewhat of a sidetrack.
Okay.
We were talking about sigils and spirits, poltergeist, and all the other supernatural spirits in that realm. I was reading a few different sources of. I'm like trying to devour as much as quote unquote chaos science as I can,
Hmm.
and it brought up this idea of poltergeists and various entities like that are actually extensions of human ruminage that got too far and essentially became a conscious entity of its own, like a tulpa,
Yeah.
including tulpas. Um, and I'd heard that before, but I don't know. For whatever reason, it struck me more that time than it has in the past because I guess I really considered it like, what if demonic possessions or the voices in your head um,
Huh.
or mental breakdowns where you're seeing things and it's like, oh, we'll say we need an exorcism of this spirit, but that spirit didn't come from the Nephilim. That spirit was a tulpa that person created because they weren't able to manage their mind.
I learned here recently, that one possession is a lot less common, or like a real possession, a lot less common than we think, and a lot of it are those things sound like thought forms that you created. Those are a little bit easier to get rid of. Thought forms. Those sound like thought forms that became things that came from the collective unconscious. And that's where like there's the two aspects, the three aspects of mind, but the two main ones, you see the unconscious, which is just yeah, where your mind just throws thoughts at you all day, whether they're positive or negative. Those 80,000 thoughts, most of them are
Yeah.
unconscious. That's why they don't manifest. They're just, you're trying to consciously sift through to see what do you vibe with, who are you, based upon who you are, so right now. And so those things, they may not come through you, but they take on their own form because as above, so below,
Their own
and
sentient form.
they find somebody wicked enough to 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 vibe with, or they can try to
Literally, to
haunt
match,
other
to
people,
resonate with.
or they could haunt people who other people, and you can just understand that it's all about an aspect of because we're going to use the Kabbalion here. You want to get rid of those motherfuckers. It's just the way that on a higher level you would deal with someone fucking with you, you would throw the opposite energy back. So a lot of times we're
No
taught
way.
to fight fire with fire. But if someone's throwing hate at you, throw love. Because what you're doing is warfare, and you won't see it as that, but it's warfare. And what happens is going on the other side, and
Hmm.
that will neutralize everything.
It's also
Stop seeing.
disarming. Someone's
Yeah,
expecting you to throw some shit back, and they're like, "Ooh,
exactly.
what?" Now
You
I
see what
feel
I'm
like a
saying?
dick. Now I feel like, what just
It's
happened? I
like,
didn't mean anything I just said. I'm sorry.
exactly. It's you throw the other side at them. You know what I'm saying? And
Wait,
that's
so
either.
you're saying, so you back to what I was proposing earlier. You saying it sounds like you're saying it's a little bit of both. It's not.
Yeah,
It can either be a poltergeist can either be a runaway thought form of the individual, him or herself, that is haunting, or the older poltergeist could be created from the global human psyche
yeah.
and with
It's
its own
there's
and
yeah,
it was, so you know what I mean? Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
because the collective unconscious is going to, whether for
Human though,
this side or that side,
the
it's got to.
collective human unconscious. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
It's going to affect everyone. So everyone is at a certain level of that, based
Yeah.
upon who you know yourself to be. And so these things, they come from there. They're what you call human artificial. The first form of artificial intelligence, robots are actually form humans at a certain level. So those are like the humans that are like really cold, really detached.
I see.
They're generally like seen as like scumbags because that's the type of shit they do. Saying they're actively doing these things. So those are the type of energies those resonate with. Uh, per Bobby Hinn and my own research on that, on like archons and different things of that nature, um, how they
No, do
manifest,
not speak their name.
how they manifest, through the human artificial. They like, so like, say a
Something has
woman,
to inhabit it. Some type of consciousness has to inhabit it, you know?
yeah, and so they find a vessel that's willing.
But you're saying AI can be plugged with these disembodied spirits?
Well, human artificial, what that is you see it as the fucked up person that just goes, see it like a horror film, like the slasher in a horror film. That's the human artificial, or the person that's like a deadbeat, or they have no compassion.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
So what happens is that particular spirit, it's like an artificial spirit because it's if we're all compassion, we're all love, we're all whatever. I see what it does is it knows how to inhabit a pregnant woman. She's pregnant with that baby, and that baby hasn't truly formed yet. It'll go and become her child, and she'll produce it into the world, and then that artificial human is basically like, think about what we think about robots. We say they're not sentient, they have no feelings.
Whoa, that's
All
quite
they
that's quite the postulation there,
There's a
alchemy.
human form. There's a human form of that, because remember, humans created the robot, so it had to come from us first. They have our
Yeah,
consciousness.
correct.
So there has to be a humane form of that first
Correct. I
before
see.
robot.
I see.
You
And you're
see,
saying
so
this is the children that you see in the movies that are just the most evil thing ever kind of
yes,
thing. That
and then
the
they grow up.
I'm trying to think of one. The movie like struck me deeply as a child. It like shook me. So it's maybe from the '90s, and there was two kids. One of them's super evil, and then the mom has a choice to save one or the other. It's like the cousin or her child, and her child's the evil one, and she lets her son's hand go, and he falls to his demise. And but the dude was evil. He was like, "This is my son," but he was killing, like he killed all the cats in the neighborhood, like
Yeah,
brutally, and like was just doing like would threaten the mom with knives and stuff like that. So, anywho,
truly
I
artificial, bro.
uh huh.
Is someone who lacks compassion, who lacks that heart, who just for
Question.
some odd reason.
I'm spitballing here. Can you say? Can you? Are you saying that that particular flavor of soul is doomed
I
forever?
wouldn't
Or at
say
least
they're not
its
doomed forever.
humanly existence? Do you
No,
think it can be changed by someone like
yeah,
you? Is what I'm getting at.
they have to change themselves, but like, think about this. Have you ever known someone who was on the wrong side of the tracks, but somehow and this is the
Not to,
process of alchemy.
not
You
to
know,
that level though. Not that was
no,
that
not
far
that
on
level,
the
but
other
let's
side of the
go
track. Thank
let's go
God.
up.
I have not.
Let's go up even light, because there are lighter levels of it. Remember, there's
Oh,
vibration and
for
frequency.
sure. But I was speaking
So
specifically of
yeah, oh,
that demonic child that you're speaking of. Do you think that child is just doomed to a human existence of
of that.
a little
mm,
demonic entity, or do you think in a single lifetime can that thing change with the
It
help of
can.
something like a hypnotherapist?
I would say it could. It would require a lot of fucking work, but
For sure.
that particular person first has to have it within themselves to want to change. That's where it starts, with self.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That seed. So all
Yeah.
other people outside that can do is plant seeds and kind of do the work. But
Water them. You got to water it.
yeah, plant the seeds and water them. There are things that can be done, and this is why psychotherapy, is a thing, and psychology, psychologists and different things of that
I
nature. But
win.
it starts with self. You gotta want, you know what I'm saying. But if someone's under that type of thing, we gotta start. on the spiritual. Everything starts spiritually first, and you start there. So I'm not sure how I would start that. That's something that I could ponder. That's something maybe I could write about. I don't know.
In that, yeah, I
That's a
don't
good
have an
book.
answer. I was just like, oh, you'd be a good person to ask because you're studying to do
Yeah,
just that.
yeah.
You're studying to
It'd
bring
be a
people.
good book. It would be like that would be like some crazy shit, some
Dude,
wild shit.
before I forget, I'm really, really, really itching to write my own fantasy novel. It's like
Ooh,
the tree grows by the day and has been
ooh.
exponentiating. We should, when you decide to do that, or vice versa, we should team up.
Hey, shit. I'm always
We
writing.
should share notes and we can collab and give each other tips and just have
Yeah,
another head to bounce ideas off of, and we'll just do it like freaking what was it, Lord of the Rings and Narnia. We're done like that.
yeah.
Whole thing.
I like doing shit like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like they would write each other
Yeah,
letters and be like, "This is what I got so far," and they'd talk shit or they'd hype them up, like something like that.
yeah.
Super, super down.
That would be dope
I have been really
because
wanting to write a book of fantasy and
that
incorporating all of these teachings inside. But I
yes,
wasn't thinking sigil, and I am now. I was thinking imbue it with knowledge of this shit,
exactly, because
not put my
those
own
are
juju in there.
those shows have sigils within sigils, so you'll see like
The
actual
eye,
sigils,
the
actual
eye
sigils in the show.
Sauron. Yeah, for sure. They're
On
everywhere.
on every single frame. So it's like that it has its own world, it has its own language, its own people, its own presence. It's very complicated, but it's one of those things that pays off. Game of Thrones, this,
Oh my
that,
goodness.
all of it. If you Harry Potter is a good example. I would say Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and Lord of the Rings are the ones to look at. If we're talking that type of level, Narnia as well, and you can kind of just study like, okay, how did George R. R. Martin fucking come up with this shit, this language, this, they're
Right?
studying the occult. We already got the first thing, study the occult.
Dude, we got what we need most.
Yeah,
We just need to sit down and start
and
putting
create
pen
it.
to paper.
Yeah, it's like, okay, where do we want to go? What is the overall goal here? What is the message? And then you go from there. What are we trying to do here? And then you go based upon that. You know, every book has its own. Like George R. R. Martin has many books that made Game of Thrones, and each book has its own presence. It has its own life that created that whole world. You know, so it's like Harry Potter 2 is different than the Deathly Hollows.
Substantially.
You know, and so I love Harry Potter on that level. Just I grew up with it. It's one of my favorite. I look at it, I say, okay, there's something about this. There's something about this. And now as a practicing magician, I'm like, okay, there's something here that I could take notes from. Because this is where like when I was a kid, I would go to these different type of worlds, just like that. So it's like that's right up my alley. I
Done.
might send you something next week or something.
Done and
Like,
done. Done and done. Signed,
you
signed,
know,
sealed, delivered. All right, cool. Good talk. Good talk. We had. Let's see. Wait. Oath asks. Ghost sec. No, they're not necessarily like cancer cell. Or when they accumulate too much and they inhibit the natural function of the cell, then yes, they become cancerous. But thoughts can also be extraordinarily useful. Like uh, your dreams can be considered thoughts to a point, just very realized ones. So whatever thought you have can be either useful or not useful, but there's also not attaching to those thoughts. Period, so that you can see them more objectively, and then for you can make better decisions on what to do with those thoughts or how to guide them, which ones you want to focus on so that you can actualize, and then which ones that you want to peacefully let go so that you can like not get
hmm
lost in the sauce. Yeah, so they're, but I guess like cancer, yeah, cancer cells, it's just when too many accumulate and it inhibits the natural function, then the thoughts do the same thing. You get too many of these
yeah,
useless thoughts and they inhibit the function of your mind, and then yes, they can turn into cancer when not properly cared for, is what I should have
yeah.
said. Mr. or Mrs. Oath. I hope that helps.
And so they're asking if I have a link, but I can't type anything like I used to. Like there used to be like when you're going live, you can type shit. I think my channel might be up there since we're going live together. It should be up there.
Oh, you see, because now that we're going like TikTok style, right? Both
Yeah,
of us should say that we're live to our followers. That's awesome.
hopefully.
Yes,
So because
Rusty.
how come
Tolkien
you're
was
liking
definitely
my channel?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Tolkien was writing about his. Do you know? Did you know that Tolkien was in? Don't quote me. I think the bloodiest war in period ever. I'm pretty sure
What?
Tolkien was in World War One. I want to say Rusty would definitely know. Correct me if I'm wrong. If not the first, the second biggest, but like millions of people died in this one battle that lasted months because it was trench warfare. And Tolkien was in it. He was on the trenches in World War One, which is
Damn.
where like, all of his inspo came from. Um, Maybe
See,
not
I was
all
gonna
of
say
it.
that sounds like where he got it from.
Dude, right when you
Damn,
now, yeah, read that and watch it, knowing that that dude was on the front lines of World War One with
that's
England, like
crazy.
getting mustard
Oh,
gas, getting sniped, freak people just dropping dead, getting popped off, like running across no man's land and getting mowed down with oh my god.
damn. Came back and wrote about it in a
Came
fantasy
back
novel.
and wrote Lord of the Rings, dude. Came back and wrote Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Then you got along with Lord of the Rings. The last one I didn't mention, is fucking Star Wars,
Oh, dude, that one's laced.
laced completely. It's like I don't even know where to start.
I wait. You said Star Trek or Star Wars?
I said I don't even know where to start. Star Wars, Star Trek
Oh,
2. That's another one.
I thought you said Star Trek. I haven't seen it too much, but when I talk to some of the old cats about the occult, they're always referencing Star Trek and shit. Like
Yeah.
with Lost
Star Trek.
Civilizations, like, oh, in Star Trek, they're talking about the Anunnaki on this episode thing on this planet. And I'm like, oh, dang, Star Trek was on it too. Like shit.
Hey, Star Wars is something different,
I love Star
as
Wars.
well because it's crazy. Like he wrote them in episodes, and then obviously when Disney got a hold, it's like the same thing still. Though you still see it, like the idea of of Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader. You see a man go from one side of the to the other, like that's alchemy and how
It's
he dealt with it. And you can, if you read through the lines, his heart was still there after all that time.
yeah.
His heart was still there because he still loved his kids and he still loved his woman after all that bullshit he did becoming Darth Vader, the fucking king of the night.
There was a lot of
He,
bullshit that he did too. It was
you know, he,
oh, Star
became he
Wars has to be
became
the best way of portraying
Lord
this stuff, dude. I agree. I
Lord
agree.
Vader. He became Lord Vader, and that's can see as like an alter ego. He became somebody new because he had to because he couldn't be Anakin Skywalker anymore.
While still amassing power to manipulate his reality
Yes,
highly effectively, which is what we're
very
training to do. Just not he went Darth
exactly.
Vader, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And instead
yeah.
of
You could
instead of
create like your own alter ego. Like when you're playing music. You know what I'm saying? Like this is why artists don't. A lot of artists don't go by their real name; they go by a stage name because that's the container. Like basically, we're none of these identities or characters. We're just playing these
mm,
characters. So it's like
that's
when
thank you for
he
saying that out loud. Go ahead. Brother.
when you're at home, you're probably a husband, a father, a son, and then you go out into the world and you're someone else instantly. Instantly, you go to the store, you could just be a stranger to somebody instantly.
Yeah, I was
So
about to say you're a stranger.
you
You're a
know,
threat, maybe sometimes, depending upon who you are and what store you're
yeah,
walking into.
exactly. So it's like this is the whole detachment from identity. Like, but also you use the identity. You're this character, and so now, okay, this is how we shape the reality. So who is this character really? What have they been through, and how can I give them a better story? A story that I
mm,
would. You see what
Beautifully
I'm saying?
said, dude. You should be like a marketing manager. That's what you should do. You should be marketing manager for high clients. Like you do nothing less than 10G clientele. That's what kind of marketing I'm talking about. Start up
Yeah,
your
I'm
Instagram. I'll be your first follower, dog. I'll be your first follower on all platforms. But
I'm
yes, you're
telling you,
right.
bro.
Yes.
That's how it works, bro. It's on a level like, the once you start seeing all these characters that we've amassed within self, you say, okay, how do I reel them in to make them work for me? Because most people are on autopilot. They're not getting the character to work for themselves. Their life is happening to them and not for them. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed, which is why a lot of my channel has been to bring that into balance because I feel like the masculine energy takes most of the heat for modern world problems. But everyone's also extraordinarily passive in that they're on autopilot. They're not conscious of their
Yeah,
daily life, which is super feminine. They're in their subconscious. They're daydreaming constantly. The thoughts are rummaging constantly. They're freaking caught in the rat race. And even if you're in the rat race, even if you have the 9 to 5, even if you can still sit back at the end of the day and be like, this is still almost meaningless. Like there's more to this. I get it. I'm spiritual. This is silly, but like I'm not gonna lose myself in my regular job and have an existential crisis because I had an eye issue one
exactly.
time. Like I can't live in the world anymore. There's like a balance
Mhm.
that you must attain in things, and I try to get that to people. Like there is an unhealthy subconscious, and it looks like you go with the flow all the time. And yeah, you've
Yeah,
heard me talk about 1,000 times, and that's why I'm always
yeah.
like, wait, don't always go with the
What,
flow because that's super
what flow are you
receptive.
going with?
That what flow are you going with? You know what I mean? Do you know where it's going? Did you make it? Do you see
Exactly.
where it started? Do you see where
That
it's
is what you
going? Like
call in today's world. That is what you call a boundary. You're setting
down.
boundaries to,
Yes. Yes.
on exact of what you will. So like you take the feminine energy is going to uh, be going to be the the overall body of water. So
Mhm.
the wave that it makes is the masculine energy. That's the electricity. And
Mhm.
you put a boundary on it, and that's like we're in this body. We have the feminine energy is our blood. It's like course. It's our life force. It's coursing through our
Mm.
veins. It is
Mhm.
in a boundary of the body.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So it works within what we have, and what we can change our body into being. Like been going back to the gym for months now, 2 to 4 days a week.
Like
I'm
shit.
changing that boundary. I'm changing it up. So now the feminine within me is going to move differently. The energy with and my masculine is gonna because really what masculine energy is movement, pure movement. You see what I'm saying? Movement. That's what it is. It's movement. That's why us men we're mental creatures and we're always on the go. We're always told to if we don't move and we just sit around too much, we get depressed. We feel
For
like we're not
sure,
doing
dude.
enough. We feel like we're
Mhm.
not and people call you lazy and all these things, and it's just kind of crazy, but that's just because we're designed to be in flow of movement. And so, what flow are we going with? Is it our own or is it someone else's?
Is the water
And if it's
warm?
someone,
Is it chilly?
yeah,
Is it cold water?
yeah, is it,
Is it a I like to picture the lazy pool, like the lazy river. I imagine it like, are you in a lazy river or are you in a goddamn rapid? Like what fucking
yeah,
you're
exactly.
riding a tidal wave right now to your death, but having a great time. You know, like, what's going?
Sometimes you need to be like, sometimes you've been moving so much, you just need to go back to the feminine and just still. And that's what stillness meditation is of going. That's why I said it's like surrendering to the divine feminine because she is still. See, like everything is vibrating, but when you still that and basically slow it down, it can come into form into this reality. You slow it down. So she is a slower moving vibration. You know what I'm saying? So that means the masculine must be a quicker moving vibration. So if we go brain waves, the faster brain waves are more masculine and the slower brain waves are more feminine.
Hmm.
So
I
like
didn't know that.
theta, delta, just this is how we check it. I check
Oh, that's
everything
right.
through the body.
That's right. When you go deeper into the subconscious, it slows down, right?
Yeah. It slows
That's
down.
right.
So this is where like someone like Q Reads will be good, like subconscious, like getting a regression. I would, shit. I'm about to get a regression from Q because he dropped a video the other day. I said it's time because it goes along with everything we've been talking about, and I'm like,
It is
yo, this is
time.
mad. It's time. Like it's time to meet that part of myself that that someone who's adept at that level. You know, who's put the work in, but he does a certain type of work. So I'm like, hey, I remember like we were all supposed to do something, me, Q, and that big group, but I would definitely be down, say like me, like having a talk with Q. Definitely, he's a very
See, with
enlightened
this setup,
individual.
like, I think we could even oh, no, I can only do 2?
You
Remove
know,
guest? Yeah, I can't add another guest. I was like, "Damn, maybe
Uh,
we could add another guest."
I would say that maybe that would be worth getting them back on Zoom for one. You know what I'm saying? I would.
Yeah, he
It's
actually
like,
commented on one of my videos, I think yesterday, saying that exact thing. He was like, "What up, man? Long time no see. Like, wanna live?" And I said,
yeah.
"Bet."
See,
And that was like
how
a
did
day
I know?
ago.
How did I fucking know? It's time. See how synchronicity just lined up?
Synchronicity, I didn't answer. My short answer and completely for myself is synchronicities let you know are checkpoints. Like a video game, when you hit the checkpoint when you're on the right path and it automatically saves the game for you. It's like that. You have a synchronicity and it's like, oh, nice, I'm tapped in. That's what synchronicities tell me. But you have to be the more the more immediately aware of your surroundings. In other words, the less you're caught up rummaging in mind thoughts and the more present you are. There's a red car and it's there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And now you
That's
match the frequency.
the white elephant. That's the white elephant experiment.
Mhm.
They say
Oh,
try not to
yes.
think of a white elephant, and then you're gonna think
Uh-huh.
of a white elephant. That's what in OCD, like what happens when people try to shun their thoughts away, those negative thoughts. They try not to think about them, but they keep thinking because they try to shun them instead of just not giving them any the time of day. It's like think of a white elephant. I have a comment here says everything comes from the feminine dark energy is 100%. The womb is we're in a womb. Mother Earth is womb. You know what I'm saying? That is something that I've been working with a good friend of mine, my homegirl Gail. We channel we talk about the divine feminine in the womb all the fucking time. That's the work. The womb is everything, and it's just one of those things that should be talked about more at a depth level. I'll probably do more videos on my channel or do some things on Patreon, but well, actually on Patreon I do talk about it quite a bit. But the womb, man, that's since it can birth, that's the negative side of the polarity. That's the stillness. That's where things evolve and grow. And then the masculine side, she goes into the masculine side as well. So it's like how they say the feminine is rising. Oh, the divine feminine is rising. That's bullshit. Because she never went anywhere. If she is rising, that means she went somewhere, but she didn't. Because the feminine is what cannot be seen. Everything that you can see is masculine, everything that you can't see is feminine.
To
So
varying degree.
that's what feminine energy is. Feminine energy starts from nothingness, starts from what you cannot see. That is where faith comes from. Believing in things you can't see, believing in something that you want to happen before it happens. It's not there. That's feminine. The masculine is I believe it when I see it, when it's here, when it has a form. That is the idea of the sun and sun man of the sun that beams down on us versus the internal sun. The outer sun versus, the outer sun grows things. It's the reason why, you know, certain things happen, certain things grow. But think about people like in Alaska, they don't have sun but like one time a year. What about them? It's like a completely feminine area because it's run by darkness and things still grow.
Darkness.
You know what I'm saying? They still
However,
have vegetables. Their sun isn't out and yet shit's still growing. You see what I'm saying? So that tells you the feminine is everything.
yes, it is. It is.
Like how did we get here? Like think about it, how did we what did we slide out of? It's just what
Oh,
it is. We came from a womb. We slid into from a womb into another womb, which is the earth. And so as gardeners, like we're gardeners, we're farmers, what we're doing is tilling the land, you know, and that is we're working with the womb of the earth, we're penetrating. That is a form of sex with the environment with the earth. That's a whole nother
we're t- we're taking genetic material and inserting it into cavities in the ground, and
exactly.
things are coming to life and sprouting out of it. That's
And then those things can produce seed.
pretty
The
textbook
seeds.
lovemaking there.
Yeah. And those things can produce seeds. And those seeds can then produce other beings, other plants. And on it goes.
That's
On and
funny.
on it
Oath
goes.
asked the question. Oath asked, "How has gardening influenced your spiritual practice?" And we've just been talking about gardening and spiritual.
It has influenced a lot of what I do, my spiritual practice, because now I see everything just like that analogy I just gave. I was able to get that from gardening, and I see things in seasons now. Everything has its own season. And
Hmm.
so, but I also
Angles
know
of
that,
light.
yeah, angles of light and seasons. But say you want to tap into a certain season because everything is already happening now. So then that's like they say we have past lives, but really, what if those past lives are just happening now? What if our grandchildren are already alive and we're just feeding them the information? Like, since everything is happening now, so you can tap into that doorway now, and then bring that season that you want to be in now, and then you just persist in that reality until it becomes, it may have taken you 10 years before, but now by doing that, it'll take you one.
Hmm.
So there's that. But gardening is giving me a respect for timing of things. It's giving me a respect for and patience. It's taught me patience. That is a good thing, because plants take time to patience. It's taught me nurture how to nurture things.
Yeah, there's nothing more
It,
anticlimactic than planting a bunch of seeds you're stoked on, and then covering them with dirt, watering them, and then going, "Okay, I guess I won't see the fruit for 4.5 months." Like,
exactly.
now
But
what?
that's the nurturing. That's how the divine feminine shows that men are natural nurturers. A lot of people don't want. A lot of men don't want to hear that, but we are natural nurturers. We
Oh,
we
for
are the
sure.
gardeners. You know,
Mhm.
we are
Mhm.
the tillers of the land. We take care of.
Mhm.
If the land is the feminine, and we are to till the land, then we are nurturing it.
Dude, I'd
So
be
we
out
would
there bare with my toes in the dirt,
talking to the plants.
talking to playing them flute. I learned the flute, playing them flute music and
Yeah,
shit at night,
come
dude.
on
At
now.
sunset, get out of here, dude. Get
Classical
out of town.
music.
Dude, killing it. Me and the plants are killing it. To answer your question,
So
Oath, I'm stoked I'm planting this variety of corn out of Oaxaca that produces its own nitrogen by oozing. I don't know if you've seen this alchemy, but you know how the corn has those thick aerial roots that come out above the dirt. Have
hmm
you seen those? Those
I
on
don't
this.
think I have.
What's up?
I don't think I
Well,
have.
all right. So corn grows roots, and they look like cylinders, like
Oh,
fingers
you're
that
talking
go
about
under the ground.
corn. I thought you were talking about like one of those copper devices. My fault. I'm in La La
Oh
Land
no,
for a
no, oh
second.
yeah, no, no. Corn
Yeah.
itself.
Oh, it's corn
So
itself. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so the ones that hang above ground produce this slime, like
Yeah.
mucilage, and in that slime are the bacteria. So it pulls nitrogen from the air, not even from the soil, dude.
Yes.
I hadn't
I've
seen
grown.
those until like a few months ago.
That's crazy. That's gonna make me. I got corn seeds right here.
Dude,
Got the sweet Illinois sweet. Where the
Google it.
sweet corn?
Oh yeah, sweet
Where
corn.
the sweet
Yeah, I
corn
love growing.
state? That's what we grow here. Fucking corn and beans.
What
That's
kind of
what we're
beans?
known for. Soybeans are usually the beans, but any type of bean. Like we used to be known for all types of beans, but name
Oh
these
really?
things. because Monsanto owns like everybody's farm down here. It's like,
Oh, you're talking commercially out there. I see. I see. I thought you
yeah.
meant you and the homies. I was like, what kind of beans y'all growing out there?
Oh, I've grown beans in my garden before. I've grown like not lima beans.
I'm growing fava beans right now. I
Or
just planted
peas,
some
like sweet
yesterday.
peas.
Actually. Oh, sweet peas.
Yeah, I like those. And they said, are you guys growing anything new on your gardens next year? Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be going back on my hot peppers. I'm gonna throw some dank in there and
Oh,
some of
nice.
this, a bunch of different stuff. Like I have my echinacea that comes back every year,
Oh,
and my
beautiful.
peppermint that comes back every year. The perennials, they've been there for 5 years, 5 seasons. It's nothing like being able to take a plant that maybe a seed that came from a seed that was once domesticated, and now you can make your own thing. You could, like, say these seeds right here, they might be slightly GMO, they might not, but after a couple of seasons, after growing this maybe 3 or 4 times, it'll be dope.
Even if it's
After
got GMO genetics in it.
well, what happened is like what happens when I take a couple of uh, corn cobs and I let them dry out and I save them for next year and then I plant them and I do the same thing. The same thing. It's gonna, it's
Yeah.
almost like us. It's almost like we have the genetics that our parents had when they conceived us. Maybe not the genetics they started with, but the genetics of where they conceived us. Now look at us. Maybe our parents weren't spiritual, but we are. You see what I'm
Oh, I
saying?
see what you're saying. Yes, 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 yes. I
Yeah.
got you now. Yeah.
Well, it's just like that. You got to work though. You got to do the work. You got to know what work to do and then be consistent and persistent. I gotta know. Okay, how does corn grow? I know corn needs a shit ton of nitrogen, just like any herb, green herb, and any like brassica plant. They feed heavily off of a shit ton of nitrogen. That's going to
Dude,
be their main thing.
I just been peeing on my plants and it's been working wonderfully.
Hey, that's what I use. I use fish emulsion and aged urine, and that's what does it. I
Yeah,
mix them, and then
I made my own
that's
fish.
how.
Have you ever making your own fish emulsion? Did you see my TikTok?
Oh no, actually I know I seen that you had the dead fish in there. I should probably make my own. Probably go to
Dude,
get
I've been
some fish.
making I've been making my own fish emulsion with lactic acid bacteria, fermented fish with lactic acid bacteria. Um,
Okay,
and it
I'm
just
gonna try that.
liquefied. Dude, it's I made probably 15 gallons of, and the thing is the fish oil isn't there with the store bought stuff because they skim off the oil and sell it as a supplement. So when you make
Oh,
your own
see, I
fish
see,
oil, yeah, so when you
I
make your
see.
own, there's like a thick layer of
Of the film on
looks like
top.
fish oil, dude, on top, but actually looks beautiful.
Okay,
And it's free, dude. 15 gallons of organic whole
I'll have
fish
to.
emulsion, dude. That's like $300. I don't know, 200-300 bucks worth of friggin' fish for free,
Damn,
basically.
that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. You gotta get. I was on a making my own fertilizer kit because I started making cheese. I took a break from YouTube and I was like making cheese and shit. I started ferment. I learned how to ferment different things. I was making kimchi. I was making.
What?
I made
Hell yeah!
mead. Dude, I was killing it. What else did we make? Kefir,
You
just
make
like doing straight
kombucha?
kefir. What's up?
What'd you say? I said, did you
Oh,
make kombucha?
oh no, I didn't do kombucha. I didn't do kombucha. I got some like super top shelf kefir grains from Etsy, and
Oh,
I fermented everything. I was making what do you call it? I ground up old bananas and made a flowering fertilizer. I threw a bunch of bananas in with some sugar and the kefir grains, and fermented it and put that on the plants.
damn,
Dude, it's crazy. It's a whole world of plant druidry. Is fermenting your own fertilizers.
that's
Put it
that's
with your urine.
crazy.
It keeps the smell of the urine down because the lactic acid bacteria eats
Okay,
the nitrogen, and so it doesn't off gas the ammonia. Because when you smell pee and it smells bad, it's the off gassing ammonia. But when you put the lactic acid bacteria, they eat and consume and contain the nitrogen, and so it doesn't smell like you can. Like it doesn't give
Yeah.
off those and you put it and it's like so you're basically adding microbial solutions every time you fertilize. It's not just a dead fertilizer. It's like living fermented. Dude, it's
We'll have to
pretty
get on
gangster.
that.
Dude,
I
get
have to
on
get
it.
on that. I'm gonna do that. This
Yeah,
one,
check it
I'm
out.
gonna up my. I want to take that next step. Like I challenge myself every year of gardening and farming to, do something like I didn't do last year. Add something to my to what
Oh,
I do.
that's a good one, man. Making your own fertilizers is well, you know how
Yeah,
expensive top shelf fertilizers are. But yeah, when you learn how to make
because
them, and there's like I think comfrey is one of the.
com-
What's that? Go
I
ahead,
use the Alaskan fish emulsion and just urine, but if I don't have to spend money on that, I would rather spend the money making the shit myself.
dude. You gotta live near a lake. I'm assuming there's a shit ton of lakes over there, isn't there?
Yeah, I live near a pond. And we don't have many lakes here. I'd have to
Is there
go
fish in the pond?
20, 30 minutes out of town.
That's kind
So
of a
just
mission.
basically just
Is there fish in your pond?
yeah, there's fish there, but I'd have to go fishing somewhere like down Clinton Lake or something. As long as
Oh,
I can,
okay.
you know, I can just go fishing and bring them back, and then.
I just got them from a scrap store. I didn't even go fishing for them because I live by the
Shit.
beach and there was a fish and they just throw them away. Either fishermen take them to chum the waters or they toss
Mhm.
them. So I was like, bro, let me get friggin' a few buckets of the fish scraps. So I got it for free and I just drove over to the fish shop. They were happy to
Dang.
give it away, actually. Yeah, dude, I'm
Okay.
telling you, I made like 300 bucks worth of top shelf fish emulsion for the cost of
Damn.
the 5-gallon buckets.
That's crazy.
And it's yeah, someone said that their fish burn their plants. Yeah, fish emulsion is
that
extremely
means
potent.
that means they use a lot because it's one
That
of those
means
things
it's
where it's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of
it
hard to
is
do
it
that.
is kinda hard.
It's kind of. Let me see what's
I
pouring
didn't
this shit
wanna say
on.
that, but
It's kind of that
that's
I
funny.
don't know because I've used the like with my brassicas, they eat that shit up. Like they can't have enough of it. So I know if they're just
Oh, really?
guzzling, yeah, like cabbage, that's brassica, collard greens, kale, spinach, Brussels sprouts. Like
Okay.
my Brussels sprouts are still out there growing because, like I said, the weather has been, like they can go to like in the negatives, and so they're only getting sweeter
Really?
now. Yeah,
The
like
Brussels sprouts go
brassicas.
into negatives?
Yeah,
Damn, I didn't know that.
they're strong, bro. Like some of them, I know they can at
I
least go
knew they
like
were strong. I didn't know they were that strong.
20s. They can go 20s. They can hit a frost. Snow. Like it snowed. It was like 15 degrees and it snowed, and they're still fucking going.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they're still going, bro. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah.
I haven't before, but I planted a ton of cabbage a couple weeks ago. I did regular cabbage, and I did these. They're called Sapporo Giant, and they're Japanese cabbage, and they look like dude. They look like the size of a child. They're huge. They're like the world's biggest cabbage called Sapporo cabbage.
That's crazy.
I'm stoked. I made a bunch of raised beds out front. Like I did it up. I built proper beds, got nice soil mixes, threw all my homemade fermented friggin'
Hell yeah.
products into my biochar went into it. Um, I'm stoked for this next crop. Actually, I'm super stoked.
That's gonna be dope, man. It
Yeah.
says, yeah, too much urea can easily kill. Don't kill. So I would say, yeah, like if you're gonna use pea outright, then get a little bit of baking soda. If you're not eating like an alkaline diet, or you're just gonna want to age it, you're gonna want to age it out at least a
Well,
month.
I put it with the I ferment it,
This is
which
some
is
yeah,
what
someone
aging
said.
does. Which is what that's so when you age your urine, you naturally have lactic acid bacteria in your urine. So when you're aging it, basically you are fermenting it by aging it.
Yeah.
But I speed it up because I put a ton in. Like I put a
Okay.
I have a batch of it, and I just bloop, pour a ton in, and then put like some sugar to kickstart it,
Oh, okay.
and then
See,
so I'm basically
learn
doing what
something
you're
new.
doing, but
Hmm.
faster because I'm adding more.
Like I'll pee in a bottle, put it in the garage, let it sit for like I'll do that now all the way until April. So I'll have enough.
Dang.
I'll
Uh-huh.
have like stuff sitting in my garden area in the garage, and then when I need it, when I need it, it'll turn like dark and black and shit. So that's how it's good. It's like
Uh,
5, 6 months aged out. It's ready and it's powerful, and then you can dilute it with water or use it on. I just mix it with the fish emulsion, and
Oh,
Man,
nice. I mean, there's a
you
ton
know,
of nitrogen in fish emulsion too, though.
yeah,
Fish
it,
emulsion's got a ton of nitrogen in it.
it's got a
Breastfeeder says
ton.
don't pee on right on. Yeah, the only thing I pee directly on are my fruit trees. Are my fruit trees.
'Cause
I'm
they
not
can
that
go.
gangster.
They can get.
What's that?
So you're not that gangster, damn.
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's otherwise I dilute. I dilute before I shoot. Oh, you planted cabbage too, Brandy? Nice.
I just actually harvested some cabbage. They're more like
Oh, you did?
big. Yeah, they're more like big fucking Brussels sprouts because they didn't get to like the cabbage. They're like probably about like this, but I weighed them and I think my smallest one's about they're all about pound, half a pound. I got about five of them, and
Well, half
it was
a
just
pound.
one
What's
thing.
that look like? Is that like a? Is that like a? Look the
Probably
size of a
about like this.
softball?
Yeah, like a
I can't.
softball.
Like a softball. All right. All right.
Yeah. I didn't give them as much, nitrogen, early on as they should have, and I kinda gave it to them later
Mm-hmm.
on, so they
Mm-hmm.
didn't really bloom like up here in Illinois, so our growing season is a certain time of way, even though they were still if I would've left them like, if the weather would keep at, like, where it's at right now, all the way through the winter, I probably would have harvested a fully grown cabbage maybe March, even though I planted them in June,
Hmm. Wowzers.
you know? So it's like that's how much nitrogen certain like brassica family they need that shit like we need air.
Hmm. Noted. All right. So I'm peeing
You know.
straight on the cabbage this time around. Is that what you're saying? Just
Yeah.
directly.
They need that like really so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pump them early like my Brussels sprouts. They caught on later in the season. Like I haven't fed or watered them in like a month, but because it's been raining and it's been cold, they love like brassicas love cold weather. They thrive in cold weather,
They do. They
So
do.
that's why
The only time I can
it's
get kale to grow is on the side of my house. It was 110 degrees here this year. So I
yeah,
can't. Yeah, I can't. But I'm planting them into the winter now, so I'm fine.
they
I'm
fucking
good.
hate that shit. Like like I found out that my cabbage and my mainly my Brussels sprouts, like when we have a couple of heat waves during the summer, I have to get up at like 8 a.m. to water my brassicas to keep them cool all day, or they're not going to respond well, you know, and so that you want them to ideally to be growing like buds and stuff, growing your cabbage and growing especially your Brussels sprouts even during the summertime. And so like when I get about right now, like if I did it in June or like May, about right now, and I was on it, I'm watering in the morning and I'm feeding them high nitrogen and I made sure the root system is good. Right about now, I should be harvesting, but when you live, you learn. I'm learning that Brussels sprouts is one thing year after year I'm learning with. Before I couldn't get it past a certain point. Now I know exactly what they need, so I'm going to be on them next season, like white on rice, like out the gate. You know, we're pouring it on 3 times a week, and not just when I feel like it.
Brandy just said I pee on them and they love it. I love how you speak for them, Brandy. I pee on them and they love it. That's funny. I was gonna say something I forgot that threw me off. What was I gonna say? Uh, it was some. Oh, I was gonna say it's dope, dude, that we're reestablishing the land knowledge.
Yeah,
Like for our, like Atlas is gonna know this shit by when he's 12. He's gonna know everything I
see,
know at my age.
come
You
on,
know, he's gonna just.
yeah, he's going to be so much further down the line.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And this is how you master shit. This this is how you master shit easier. This is how like you keep things in the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
You teach them, hey, this is how we do this shit.
Like how to cut and lift million-pound stones and place them neatly on top of each other.
That's
Is
like
my
that's
screen
got to be
frozen?
some.
Is it?
Yeah, you're on. I can hear you, but your screen's frozen. It's
Oh,
been frozen probably about 15 minutes.
oh, gangster. It's just a podcast now, or
Yeah, it's
what?
just a podcast, bro. We're casting, man.
we're
Podcasting.
we're yeah, we're casting from our pods.
Man,
I don't even know how I would redo this to what happens if I press the X? Hold on, I'm not gonna confirm anything. That'll end it. No, we can't do that. Live chat, top chat.
well,
I
I can
guess
see the chat. The chat's like updating
I guess that's whatever. I guess my cool mug shot will just be like my it's like my EP. It'll- Just throw like a gray filter on it. Give it some vignette.
Yeah,
You have conversations with your plants. What's your fit? What do you talk? Do you talk to your plants about like real life shit, or do you just tell them that they're pretty?
yeah.
Do you
What are you
do you
talking
tell them
about?
your sorrows and your woes?
Your
Do you
woes, yeah,
confide
your
in your
sorrows,
plants?
woes. You tell them how your day was.
Tell them how your day was.
What do you
Like
know?
if you went on a date or something, do you tell them about your date?
Tell them how your day, like how today, today was fucked up at work, man. But today was great. Today was a good day at work, man. Like, you know what I mean? We should be having full blown conversations though, because plants
We
are
should.
living beings.
They'll talk back. That's how the friggin' a lot of the shamanistic practices are like, yo, I know because they told me. Like, what do you mean? They're like, if you listen,
Exactly.
they will tell you. I was reading that in whatever one of my woo woo plant books. I think Secret Life of Plants. One of the plant wizards was like, yeah, man, like you just gotta meditate with your plants, and they'll tell you what everything that they.
Exactly.
All right, Blackfoot, prove it.
It's motherfucking
Yeah,
true, bro.
I know.
That's kind of
I
like what it is.
I'm on this kick where I'm doing my bet. Well, I'm a long way from it, but my theory is you eat the more of your immediate land you can consume, the more you're made of your physical local land, and therefore the more you can tap into your physical
Ah,
and local.
that's brilliant. That is fucking brilliant.
That's where my head's at
Because
right now.
as above, so below.
Because
As
how?
above,
Yeah,
so
because
below.
on some, because as below, so you know what I'm talking about, dog. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
exactly. Right. You take it into the body, and then your biochemistry is linked up. Now you're directly synced up to it.
I know, and I think low key that's why these natives all over the world were so tapped in and could hunt and could track and could survive the winter, like whatever, because they are the land. Like they're not. Like, how could they die to
Exactly.
something that they are? You know what I mean? They
They
weren't
became it.
foreigners in the woods. That they were home. They were made of those same the woods. The land there grew them just as much as it grew the fucking trees next to them, and
Exactly. They
that's
became the
pretty
fucking
cool.
land.
I know you are. Yeah, did you spring up? I know. And so even now, when I like fertilize my plants with organics that are from Alaska, I'm like, dang, I don't want to be made of Alaskan parts. I want to be made of friggin' moo poo parts, like the soil under my toes, dude. That's what I want to be made out of.
Dope as
No,
fuck, bro.
I know. I don't know what kind of scientific studies you could do that could detail like the empirical data that may or may not produce, but regardless, it takes what 7 years for your bones to recycle. Blood, I think, is
Yeah, so
months. I think blood is
yeah,
something like
blood is
8
not.
months or something like that.
Blood would be 90 days. Every 90 days, you get a new
That's
batch.
it.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could find out all the constituents of blood and eat only and make sure those constituents are coming from your land and your blood could be OG land
Mhm.
blood
Yeah.
in 90 days.
And then here's how you can take your farming to the next level. So we talked about hyper sigils, we talked about sigils. So plant, put sigils in your plants in the ground.
Oh yeah, I've seen people do that.
Charge them up, and then
Yeah,
your way of releasing them is put them in the ground. Give each plant a sigil. Give them something to do.
that's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Got to give them a whole new world. So then that's something different too. You know, and then so then when you eat that food, you're consuming it's like different.
Dang. That's a
It's different.
super hyper sigil.
Yeah. So on a whole other
It's a
level.
meta sigil, bro.
That's you know You can go even further with it. Now you're eating. Now you're consuming it. The whole family's consuming it. So, like, if say a family has been, you want to more something more spiritual to come through your bloodline, so you make a sigil for that, for spiritual enlightenment, and
Oh, that's
and
cool.
then you feed it to your plants, and then your plants will feed you right back. So your corn, say you plant it in the corn, that sweet corn's gonna bring you spiritual enlightenment. You know what I'm
I
saying?
love
Then
it.
you've added an aspect to corn. Was say you could look, what's the spiritual meaning of corn? Well, spiritual meaning of my corn is spiritual enlightenment and whatever else it
Mine
means.
is penetration.
You'll be into it,
Oh,
you know?
that's dope. I love plants so much.
Same.
Brandy's hip with it. It sounds like Brandy says she's made of the finer things.
The finest, only the finest.
Good, good. As you should, Brandy. It was blessed by birth. Sounds good here.
Man, this is dope.
That is difficult for my look. I
Let me
can
pull
get
up
deer pumpkins.
pictures.
All right, so I had a thought, Rusty. You were talking about the deers would. That's great. That sounds great, but the deers would eat that. Wouldn't that? This, with that being said, was it not a deal at all for the natives? Because one, if deer kept coming to eat my squash as a native, I'd be stoked because I'd happily trade a head of squash for an entire deer. Because I would be dropping that fool immediately. So
Yeah,
eventually they learned to stay away from the gardens, right? So I can't imagine, in other words, I can't imagine deer or elk or anything eating my crops because I would either get a free meal or they would stop after they learned, hey, don't go to Keith's plot, don't be eating Keith's carrots, my dude, because you might not come back. Just a heads up.
don't be eating them carrots or you're gonna
Don't be
come up
eating
missing, Bambi.
don't
You're
be
gonna have
eating Keith's
Bambi over
carrots,
there.
dog. Ye have been warned. Stow your weapons, dear.
Man, and growing your own food is the way to, especially in bulk, like all on all levels, like the things you would go shopping for fresh. This is the way you make sure it's all organic and it has no toxins really. Like it's low on toxins. You're not flooding your bodies with
Oh my
toxins.
god,
Like,
yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%.
they talk about that in the toxic solution book I got. I'm doing this
Oh
9 week
yeah, you're
detox.
doing the
Yeah,
toxic book thing right now.
yeah, I sent you that book, man. This he advises you grow your own fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
And this is why we have the clean, the dirty dozen and the clean 15, because the dirty dozen are all of those plants that get way more pesticides, herbicides, and miracle grows than they should to bring them to production, and you're just going to consume all of those toxins. That's really the cause of disease is toxins before a poor diet and toxins, like, and because they build up. Because what happens, they build up in the organs,
Yeah.
and then when the organs can't take anymore, they leach them out into the blood, and this is the cause of disease.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, and then he
Yeah.
tells you there's a safe way to detox, and then what happens is most people, okay, so now their shit's leaking into their blood system. Then they say, okay, they go on a detox, but what happens is they don't do it correctly. So everything, they empty all their organs of all the toxins, and then their body becomes super sick
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you know
Because they're not
it,
extracting the toxins once they're released into the blood.
yeah, like, well, you have to do it like slowly. It's like a process because what happens is most people aren't, they don't know how to you know, do the slow release or how to get toxins out of their body. You have to bind them to a
Yes.
fiber. You have to, fiber bind it. So what happens is,
Or it's
as
by
people
I
say,
was using activated charcoal.
yeah, activated charcoal is one, but when you're taking other supplements, you're gonna need a binder that is not going to inhibit those.
Uh,
Charcoal
e-
is good pre detox, and then afterwards,
even if you're spacing it out.
like, so like,
Like I
yeah.
waited. I would take it on an empty stomach. I'd hit
Mhm.
it with my concoction, and then midday, 3 4 hours later, at least, I would take. the activated charcoal. Is the literature saying that still you still shouldn't do it
Yeah,
that way?
yeah,
Really?
because that's gonna
Oh
go through
fuck!
the stomach. It's probably, you know what I'm saying. So
Like
I,
it's
I would
this.
I would say
All
like
right.
if I'm taking my charcoal today, I don't take anything else, nothing
I feel
else,
you. I feel you.
absolutely nothing.
You're giving it a
Like
full day. You're giving yourself
yeah,
24 hours.
yeah,
That makes
because
sense. That makes sense. Everything I read said you're fine after a few hours, but I mean that to
they
me that
tripping,
was like, are you sure? Like, all right, if you say so.
they tripping.
All right, that makes more. It honestly makes more sense. Now I feel
You
like
see
I
what I'm saying?
wasted all
Like
my shit.
I feel like activated charcoal is so powerful. It's just that magnetic. It's gonna pull everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. So like like when you say you do that, you go on another level, like another binder, like psyllium husk. You would take the psyllium husk because that's something you can take with other things.
Oh,
It's a very
really?
powerful. Yeah,
Dang, dude, I
psyllium
should have hit
husk
you
is a
up for
very
my detox.
psyllium husk is a very powerful fiber. Like, let me go get the book, man. I'll read
Let
some
me
out of this
go
book.
get
This
the
is
book.
crazy. Let me get the
To
book.
answer your question, Oath, yes, my neighborhood cat was found in my box just yesterday. That friggin' woman, that Crowley. You guys know Crowley. She's made it to the to videos a few times. Oh, I eat flowers too, Brandy. Are
So let me
you guys
see. Let me
being dirty in the text? What's going on over there? I see a lot of laughing faces and jokes about eating flowers.
see. He goes
Oh,
into
you're Bella?
it.
What's that?
Let me see. The man, he goes into this shit deep. Like the detox, it goes down to like working out and being in the sauna. Like week 9, you're gonna go to the sauna. I already use the sauna every day, so
Me too.
that's something that I love that I'm already doing. But like that's a good way. But he even says like when you're in the sauna with other people, because I use the
This is
sauna
not
at the
medical
gym.
advice. Thank you, Rusty. This is not medical advice. Neither one of us are trained or licensed professionals.
Yes,
This is for
this is not
entertainment
medical
purposes only.
advice.
I don't know
This is for
anything. I'm actually an
entertainment.
Arcturian from the planet Arcturus of the Boots
I'm actually from the
constellation.
moon.
My
I'm
boy
from the
Alchemy here
womb.
is from the moon,
You
from the
know,
moon, the
I just
womb or
hang
the
around
moon.
women all the time. You know,
Oh, nice, 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 nice.
I'm from the moon. I hang around goddesses and moon goddesses and shit. So
I seen some. I seen it. I seen it
entertainment,
happen. I seen it happen. I was there.
bro. He says in this book, bro. He says about the saunas. He says like what like because if you can get your own sauna, that would be cool. I want to work on getting my own. I'm seeing like
I
I'm
like
getting
the camaraderie of being the homies though. That's one of my favorite
be-
parts is meeting the homies at the sauna.
because let me see. I'm in the sauna at the gym, and he says when you're at like the dry sauna, especially, or just a sauna period, what happens is everybody's toxins are coming out, and as your toxins are coming out, you can absorb their toxins into you. It's like crazy. You never know what
That's
they got going on.
that's true also.
It's like
I mean,
that's why
I would imagine my body would be able to handle it though, or like I'm oozing
well,
everything out. Why would I be oozing out and sucking things in at the same time, or at
well
least it
that's the
wouldn't be
body.
happening very efficiently?
It's magnetic because remember when the toxins come out of the body and we're sweating, that's like the perspiration. That's like rain, so it's going to go back up. It's going to go
Oh,
back,
I
and
see
what
what you're
comes up
saying.
comes
I see
down.
what you're saying. That makes
He
sense.
describes it in the book. So like, but he says like
Don't
it's
kill my vibe,
okay if
bro.
you
I
do
want to
that.
hang out with the homies inside the sauna.
You know, if that's what because for me, because I'm at the
Gotta
gym
keep my
most of the
distance.
time, I can't like get around it really. So I'm okay with you know as long as you're basically you know what to do.
If you're not coming into
Like
contact with the other sweat, you know what I mean? Right?
so,
Or is he
like
saying it's
yeah,
getting airborne too?
it's like airborne most of the time, or like so like if you're using it at a gym and you sit down where someone else was just fucking profusely sweating, so you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, bro.
For real
So
though,
he
my
talks
gym
about
cleans those things every night. It shuts down the sauna and steam room every night at midnight, and they bleach the hell out of that bitch. But that's not to say that there wasn't a few dozen people there by the time I got there that day at the gym.
yeah, it's crazy. So he talks about toxins. Like this book is just gonna make you read this book, you'll just go full organic. He talks about toxins in your lotion. So and remember, look at the things: your soap, your lotion, the sort of things you put on your skin.
Dude, I make my own frankincense extract for a lotion.
There you go. Like I got like a organic sea moss lotion up there. And
Oh,
so
dope.
that's let me see. I got deodorant. So I got my
You're you're a
my.
merman, bro.
Come on now, hey, I'm talking about like bro, everything from what we use, from your beauty products to your cologne to what you eat. He talks about the things that those are the things that we can do something about versus the things that are airborne. We can't really do too much about that. Spraying chemtrails and shit. It is what it is. That's why you learn how to detox safely. Because if you don't, and you just, we all know that person that went on the detox. They took those detox pills, and it really it worked. It overloaded them. It pushed all the toxins out of all their fat and all the organs, and then they get really sick and they say, "Oh my God, that detox didn't work. It made me sick." No, it was just what I'm saying. They didn't have anything to bind it to get it out. So that person got all type of boils, all type of cysts and shit because
Because it was
the
coming out,
toxins.
and
Yeah, and so it's
and not
just
even
like,
and one I didn't think about too that was brought up on the what was regular bowel movements, and some people
yeah, regular.
want to do a detox because they like have poor circulation, and they ended up getting all these toxins out, and they can't exit anywhere, so it just circulates in the blood, and it's like, look, get your bowel. If you're not going once a day, don't even attempt this. Like, handle that shit first before you try to release a
Exactly.
bunch of
I
heavy
would,
metals.
and this is not medical advice, but if you're not going, this is a good tea to get. Cineleaf. Everybody can right here. This will
Leaf,
make you
here you
fucking. This will make you regular
go. Regular with a choice or regular without a choice?
without a choice.
Oh.
It'll be with a choice. I mean, if you make the decoction, it is what it is. But
Okay, that's what I was
it'll make
getting
you
at. Okay,
it'll make
yeah,
you
yeah,
real real regular. It takes about 8 hours to work too. So I would take a
We're all
couple of
gonna be
cups.
mermaids, Brandy. We're all gonna be mermaids with the alchemy
Hey, join
and mermen.
the divine waters. There's enough room. You know what I'm saying? We've only explored like what 4% of the ocean. Well, we got room down here. What does he talk? He talks about, bro, like a lot of these toxins, like a lot of the things we put on our body, our skin, have what they call endocrine disruptors.
Mm-hmm.
They become
Good deal.
endocrine system disruptors. So they disrupt the flow of the seven chakras, the endocrine system. And that is a big no. So if your endocrine system is off, you're going to be a fucking hot mess. Like your hormones are all out of whack now. That's because you put some fucking Walmart lotion on. Crazy, bro. It's
I
like
know.
this is like fucking design murder.
I know.
Hey, this is a very cheap
Or
book,
at least
y'all.
designed
Get this shit.
murder of the spirit. I feel is what they. I don't think they want us unalived. I think they want us
Yeah.
dumb and numb
Well,
and
some
subservient.
people are gonna fall off and die, but most people will be
Yeah,
alive.
true,
It'll be like a
true.
slow torture. It'll be like a whole thing. It'll be like because what happens is they once they disrupt the endocrine system and different things of that nature, now you're going to go to the pharmaceutical doctors and they're going to say you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have this, you have that. No, you just have toxins in your body.
Lots of them.
And they're putting them in the air, they're putting it's everywhere. So it's like design. So it's like
How'd you keep? How'd you wife?
the people who design these fucking toxins, they probably invest in big pharma. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
Because
you're
it
gonna
goes hand in
blacklist
hand.
my channel.
They probably invest in your pharmaceutical doctors and the medication. You know what I'm saying? It's like because what's going to happen is like once you eat the food, once you do this, once you do that, now you're going to the doctor. Now they're saying you're sick. You just got toxins. Most people once they follow this guy's program and got the toxins out, everything you have everybody like, and these aren't medical claims; these are just entertainment stories.
Mhm.
They regressed. I'll say that
Dang.
their symptoms regressed. I'm talking about people with they say incurable things like celiac. which is like a stomach disorder. It's an autoimmune disease, a stomach disorder where the whole gluten free comes from. Eat this
And
shit,
that
bro.
comes from what you're saying?
That comes from endocrine disruptors, and it comes from the food that we
Oh,
eat. It's
really?
just like, yeah, once they can disrupt the endocrine, which is your whole chakra system, you're pretty much open for anything
What what
else.
what are what are some are there particular superfoods that help the endocrine system?
Um,
Obviously, organic, homegrown, whole foods, but like in
that's
particular,
one
is
thing
there
I would
anything?
have to imagine. So
Wait, what's that?
I would imagine completely so that there is. That would be based upon research. Hey, man, it just restarted the live.
I know it glitched, huh?
Yeah, it restarted it. It's
So
now at zero, and we're at zero. We're back at zero.
for me, it says 8, and I still have an hour and 15 minutes going on my end.
It's I can see eight. I see eight people, but my time started over completely.
Oh, start at 0?
It's at 31 seconds, bro. What the fuck is going on?
It's the Archons, bro.
Yeah, people are commenting, so we're good. We're good. But
Yeah, Rusty
that
says
would be something
Rusty says
I would do
wheatgrass.
my
Dude, I
research
actually
on.
love wheatgrass.
So let
Wheat,
me see.
I wouldn't mind growing wheatgrass in like its own raised bed. I love wheatgrass.
So he's talking about PCBs. So it says PCB. Some chemicals used in the industry are both harmful and hard to avoid. Even when banned, polychlorinated biphenyls (PCBs) are manufactured from 1929 until they were banned in 1979. Why worry about chemicals banned 38 years ago? At that time, this is not current. Because food, lubricants, plastic containers, carbonless copy paper manufactured before 1979 still contain them. Recently, the city of Portland, Oregon sued Monsanto Corporation for contaminating local bodies of water with PCBs. That they're putting PCBs on the fucking corn and all the food. They say they can't see you. I can't see you either, man.
I don't know how
You're
to
John.
fix it without start. I
Mr.
mean,
John.
I can
You do.
start the live over if you guys want me to. I know I'm bummed too. I don't know how to fix it.
You're, you're good. You're
I
good
don't
because
have
I'm gonna.
refreshing options or actually hold on.
Yeah.
Let me try
I
this.
guess Keith is just John Cena tonight. Can't see him. Man, but it says still
I'm like
contained in
trying to
recent.
flip the camera. On my screen is
So,
black. On my end, it just shows it frozen. My screen froze like it tried to buff and then stopped buffing.
so even with the ban, nearly half a century later, PCBs
Save
continue
me,
to build up.
dude. It's yeah,
Man,
you're right. Rusty. Agent Smith is
so
out to
like,
get me, dude. I'll see you in the
so
etheric, Agent
basically,
Smith.
we're exposed from PCBs from paints, plastic, rubber products, pigments, dyes, carbonless copy paper, electrical equipment, including voltage regulators, switches, reclosers, bushings, electromagnets, transformers, and capacitors, old appliances, oil, oil used in motors and hydraulic systems, fluorescent light blast, cable installation, thermal insulation material, including fiberglass, felt, foam, and cork, which is fiberglass. Most people's houses are insulated with. Crazy.
Yeah.
Adhesive and tapes, oil-based paint, caulking, plastic, floor finishes. Like this man go, that's just PCBs. That's just one
Dude, I
form
deal
of
with
toxin.
so much talking at my job and silicone. I'm actually low key really bummed with what I do for a day job. I work construction
That,
and work with a lot of gnarly chemicals, and
yeah,
it kind of sucks.
you're gonna want to hit a detox, bro. Then, like, yeah, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
this shit, read it. Like, it's like a whole diet switch. Like, I'm gonna
Text it
have
to
to
me
get
again
for.
if you could, or the
Yeah, I
title. I
will.
don't. You said you sent it to me, but I don't remember that popping up anywhere.
Yeah, I sent it to you on Facebook, so I'll send it to you through text message or on the phone.
Thank you. When I was doing detox, I probably about day 4 or 5, I was feeling amazing. Like at night, like, I was. It wasn't like, oh, it's nighttime. I'm starting to get sleepy. I'm gonna go to bed. It was like I'm wide awake and alert until I go to bed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then when I woke up, I wasn't like, oh fuck, what time is it? Like, I was just up, like clear and up. It was dope. I was like, okay, like I forgot that this is a
Man.
way to exist. Like you don't have to be groggy and
Yeah.
sleepy half your life. You know?
Bro, this shit is crazy, bro. Like it's a whole thing to it, bro, because the toxins are damaging people at a DNA level.
Hmm.
We're talking it's fucking up the D. He goes into it. This man goes like into it. Like let me find another one that he talks
Yeah, dude,
about. That's just
I've read probably like 7 or 8 books this year at least. I'm stoked. I've been enjoying the reading life lately.
here it is. It says what caused the diabetes epidemic, sugar or toxins? So it says when I first started my work in health and diabetes was rare. In clinical practice in the late 1970s, every year I would only see a few patients with either type 1 or type 2. Now it's rampant. Diabetes has now become one of the most common diseases seen by doctors every day. As of 2012, the annual cost of diagnosed type 2 diabetes was $245 billion a year. That was a
Wowzers.
decade ago.
Wowzers.
41% increase over just 5 years from 2007. This gives you an idea of both the price tag and accelerating speed of this epidemic. Please note, so he's saying basically it doesn't start with sugar. They tell you it starts with sugar, but it starts with the toxins. You see
I
what
would
I'm saying?
guess that before, yeah.
That's crazy, bro. It's not even that. They say, "Oh yeah, it's your intake." That's like a secondary source. That's like,
Yeah.
okay, now when the toxins are in the body and overloaded, now when you overload it with sugar, the sugar is going to take it to a whole nother level. High
Like
fructose corn.
people might have eaten more sugar back in the day because at least now people are conscious of it. They're like, I gotta
Yeah.
chill on the sugar. Back in the 50s and 60s, they were just like
Hmm.
sugar and soda and like they didn't give a fuck back then, dude. Like it
And
was
and
just
they and they didn't have diabetes.
interesting. Yeah, that's what I mean. I can see toxic or don't say anything that's gonna jeopardize the
Oh yeah,
algorithm, but various other things out there that are forced upon us.
various other things.
Is where my head goes before sugar or salt most of the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, oh yeah, bad heart because of salt. Like, really? It's not because my life is miserable spiritually, mentally, and physically. You think it's because of the salt in my soup? Like, please.
Man, this is crazy. He even starts talking about the farmers and how how did the food supply got the way it was. It's crazy, bro. And he gives like stories like he's a naturopathic doctor. He started the first naturopathic university. Dr. Joseph Pizzorno. He's got a lot of videos on YouTube and different things, and he has his own university. I would like to
Where
study there one day.
where's it at?
It's called Bistur University, and I believe it's on in the Northwest Pacific.
Is it in Seattle?
Yeah, he's in Seattle. He's from over
My
there.
my my boy just got his naturopathic
Yeah, that's Bistur. That's
degree,
them,
and
man.
he's in Seattle. My buddy, he friggin' dude. This guy's a legend. He grew up in NorCal in the Emerald Triangle, and that's how he got his
Oh,
finances. And bought a house in Seattle and went to school to study to be an ND, and he graduated last year, just
see,
killing it up there. So dope.
that's what it is. Bistur University is serving up NDs like it's nothing. If you're gonna get a naturopathic, if you're gonna be a naturopathic doctor, it'll be good if you can, go online or study there. I would, however I can do it, I'm gonna do it. That's gonna be something that's on my bucket list. With what I'm already doing, I wanna put it together. I wanna know more about these type of things and be thorough. This shit is crazy. You know, it's like when people say, "Oh, there's parasites in the meat," but like as a farmer and gardener, like when I'm breaking ground, you'll see you'll see the same parasites that come out of the meat in the ground. And the cows, they don't eat. They're not carnivores. They eat the herbivores. Most of those animals are herbivores, so they're getting it from the vegetables. in the ground,
Mhm.
you know, because the
Mhm.
parasites are in the ground. Then they get into the animals, and then we eat them. It's like there it is, you know. A lot of the other the doctors say, "Oh, the meat is. Oh, you're getting it from the meat." No, we're getting it from the ground. Yes, I ate the meat that had it, but and it's the way the meat
You be
was taken care of, but it came
you
from
be
the
getting
ground.
those same parasites from harvesting carrots, from harvesting cabbage,
Exactly,
from
because
harvesting
they're gonna
peas.
there's gonna be a lot more in a vegetable. They're gonna be microorganisms
Damn,
versus
that's also true, yeah.
because like they don't have to grow as big like they do inside the human body because the human body is a super womb. You feel me? So they're gonna be
Mhm.
able to do form a body just like we have. But in a cabbage, they're gonna be microorganisms, so there's gonna be so much more.
Hmm, interesting.
Millions, trillions of them versus having a handful. Crazy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Rusty, because that's what I was what Rusty said. The parasite can get you without eating anything, but that's the usual way. But if we were a vegan society, it's not like we would eradicate parasites. Is basically what you're getting at. We would still be getting them, just
Yeah,
from eating the veggies from the
yeah.
dirt instead of from the animal.
Yeah, I learned that just by cultivating the land. I'm like, damn, that's fucking parasites they say are in cows. I'm like, whoa, they're
And
in
they
the
say
dirt.
even if you walk around barefoot, that you're like, if you're someone who walks around barefoot a lot, you probably got parasites. Like, dude, I go
Yeah.
everywhere barefoot. I climb a
I'm
mountain barefoot
always
if
in
I
my garden barefoot.
can.
Especially like after I till my garden up and it's got that till feel where I can like dig down. I can dig my hand down like a foot because I tilled it so fine.
Dude, that's
Man,
some
I'm in that
beautiful
bitch
earth right
barefoot.
there.
I'm in that bitch barefoot. Just
That's some
earthing,
beautiful earth.
covering my
Nice.
feet like I'm at the beach or something.
And I love sushi too, dude. I eat hella sushi. They say if you eat sushi, you probably have parasites.
Man, that's raw fish, man. That's raw dog in the
I do. I would do a raw dog me some fish, man. I will not lie. Dude, some sashimi too. Not even the rolls, dude. Straight up sashimi.
damn.
A little garlic aioli truffle. Oh my god, some freaking soy sauce, dude. A little wasabi. I'm right here by the ocean too, dude. I don't know what it's like having sushi out there, but when you live at the docks and you get some fresh sushi, there's something called umi, and it's sea urchin, and you put it in a shot of like vodka or something with like Worcestershire. It's like a shot. It's like a
Mhm.
spicy Bloody Mary shot with an umi in it and lime juice. Oh, dude, some salt Tabasco sauce, dude. I like the fish. I like the raw fish, man. Anywho, let's start wrapping this up because we're two
Yeah,
hours in.
yeah. I gotta
Anyone
go
have
get
any
some dinner
questions?
too. I'm hungry.
I know I
So
got I got freaking fideo soup waiting for me.
I'm gonna cook this cube steak. It's gonna be good.
Not if your
Gonna be
body is
good.
alkaline. Ooh, there's also that. There's also not worrying about the parasites at all
I would.
and focusing on building up the body, Brandy. That's also another
There's that.
holistic approach to the situation that
But
should not
that
be
is gonna
underlooked.
do. That is gonna do a lot for you. And just
Yeah, it
know that
is.
parasites have evolved evolved next to humans, so they probably know how to get around that. They probably have already learned how to survive in the alkaline environment because
Well,
they've
the
evolved.
the the toxins that they produce, that's part of what they do, as I was learning, was the toxins that the parasites produce make your body hospitable to them. So
Yeah,
it poisons you, but that poisonous state is what they like, creating anaerobic conditions. They even, for whatever reason, parasites accumulate heavy metals, and they're not necessarily sure why. But that's why when you do your parasite cleansing to kill them, you have those flu-like symptoms because you kick in
yeah,
those pathways and you get heavy metals released from your body. Your body was storing them, but now they're being released because you've opened that pathway, and they're coming out of the parasites who've accumulated themselves. And they like as they die. This is what I didn't know. Parasites, even as
yeah.
they die, they release poison into your bloodstream so that
And
they
as they're
toxify your body. What's up?
as as you're killing them, what they do is, as a safety measure, they flick off
Hmm.
babies. So that's where
They
something
they
like
flick off the yep.
black walnut hull, if you take black walnut hull as you're, on a detox, as you're killing those parasites consciously, that will kill off the parasite baby. Because as you
That
kill the parasites, they're just gonna flick off more and then they'll come back. That's
so I
how
was
smart they
using
are.
clove blossom essential oil, and black walnut, green black walnut husk, and artemisinin, which comes from the sweet mugwort plant. I was hitting with all three of those. And clove is
You'll be good.
exceptionally good at killing parasite eggs, which are notorious to
Yeah,
resisting things. So clove is
yeah,
the eugenol in the clove. But I didn't know the black walnut did that too. From my research,
yeah,
I did
black
that
walnut
wasn't one
hull.
of the first things that came up.
I got some powder up there back in there. That's I got my I have my detox elixir. Let me go get it.
Yeah,
No, I got
Brandy. They literally as they it's called the Herxog or the Herxstock effect, and parasites blast you with toxins as they die so that it makes sure that the environment stays acidic, stays poisonous, so that when their eggs hatch, they have a better chance of surviving. It's pretty
now
wild.
we're
Them
talking.
parasites are no joke, dude. Those guys are little demons themselves, little personified
This
demons
is
themselves.
my parasite uh my parasite
Did you make that?
yeah, it's a tincture that I'll be selling that I'll it's a tincture I sell master master detox on the shop on the site,
Do you
and
use the green walnut husk for that? Is that what's in
I
that?
use I use black walnut hull. I use
Yeah,
black walnut hull. What I do is I use um marshmallow root, dandelion root, burdock root, walnut hull,
but
what
for the
else?
walnut, the immature harvested black walnuts, while they're still green, has a higher level of that acid that
Okay.
kills parasites. So I don't know if
I use
if you take them when they're young, and the green husk of the black walnut, that's the most potent part.
okay. I use the black walnut hull powder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I use the
Dude,
powder
that
and then
tree, I was gonna ask you because it grows near you. I was gonna say I'll buy a box of that stuff because the eastern black walnut tree has the highest levels. Juglone, that's what it's called. The
yeah,
compound is called juglone, the antiparasitic, and that's found in the green part of the husk. And if you get it fresh and make it that day, the concoction is like stupid potent. I
I have
want
to get
some.
some of those.
Dude, it's from the east, I'm assuming. Are you considered east? If they say it grows on the east, would that be where you are?
They consider us Midwest, but technically the landmass is Mid-East by Louisiana Purchase. If we are going to go by the actual means of that, then technically because it snows here, we're in with the Mid-East.
I
But you
think
could
I
call
think
me
they made
Midwest or Central America. I like to
I
say
think
Central America.
so geographically speaking is what I'm getting at. It probably wouldn't be growing there, huh? They're probably talking about like the Appalachians and shit like that. Like that
Probably
east.
I'll have to see. I can look it up to see if it's growing in my region. That'd be easy to find. But this is
Someone hit
my
us on that
detoxing list
freaking someone in the
that I
chat
sell.
seconds away from Googling that for us. I can feel it.
This is I just started this the other day, and I've got it charging on my hyper sigil.
Oh,
Keep
dope.
it on auto charging, and I keep it in a dark place. Obviously, I just brought it out, and I'm gonna program it with 417 hertz tuning fork. That's gonna
Dope.
go dope. And then once it's done, it'll be done probably sometime week and a half before Christmas. I can get bottles and
Can you
sell it.
send
'Cause
Walnut? Yeah, as long as you don't. I mean, if you're worried, just tell them it's something else. I've sent so many things. Well, I mean, I haven't sent. So someone who is not me has sent things. Um,
I,
but if you're saying you have some, I was gonna order a box on Etsy, Rusty, and there were no Etsy is pretty strict with stuff like that. Because you have to declare everything, and there was no restrictions that popped up for
yeah,
California. I didn't order them because I just didn't at the time. I ended up just buying a pre-made tincture of the black walnut.
Cali- California is super strict on
We
everything. Like,
are,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm glad we don't have those restrictions here. I'm so fucking glad.
Well, y'all don't grow as much as California produces more ag products than like than half the world. We have a ton of. That's what I've been told is one of the reasons why. Um, but Idaho. in California are the ones that won't let me get things sent to whenever I'm hunting them down. There's a black walnut tree up the street. They are kind of evil, dude.
Sure.
Please continue, Rusty. Brandy, can you send me green black walnut husks? I will pay you for them, Brandy.
That's that
With
Kamala
love
Harris,
and
man.
adoration. What's up?
That's that Kamala Harris. Man. She's gonna make you declare for everything. She fucked that. She fucked California up.
Oh, hey, dude. Why I got
And that nigga Newsom, her and her little posse, they did a number on y'all.
dude, you
Man,
came in real hot right there, dude. I wasn't ready for that.
every time I see all my friends out in California, man, fuck Kamala Harris. They fuck this place up, man. God, I'm like, it's bad out there, man. I
It's
ain't
pretty
know. I
bad.
thought it was.
Well. The big cities are getting kind of bad, like L.A. and San Francisco, and I haven't been to San Diego. I heard, but for some reason, San Diego stays pretty chill. But
That's good.
I haven't been there in a long time. But L.A. and San Fran certainly
Damn.
are shells of their former selves for sure. Like I went to school in San Francisco, and it was a vibe. It was beautiful. It was magical and inspiring and transporting, and everything that you felt about the city was like, oh my god, I feel like no matter what show or movie or however it drew you with the music, the culture, and now everywhere is just grime. It smells like urine. There's like
Damn.
feces smeared on the wall. Like it's businesses are leaving. Like no one like no you can't they sell sky I think I saw a skyscraper being sold for 800,000
That's
downtown
crazy.
SF skyscraper for 800,000 or 9.
What
It
do they
was
cost? Like
stupid
10
cheap.
million back in the day?
It cost I think they said they bought that building in 2014 for like 6 or 7 million or something. It was a small
Damn.
sky. It wasn't one of the super impressive ones, but it's a fucking skyscraper downtown San Francisco, bro. Like it was
They just
tens of
giving it away.
millions. Dude, there and they couldn't even do that, and they couldn't even give it away because no one that at the one point there was no police and
Man, that's
there was no penalty for petty theft. That was the main reason why they started leaving in the beginning was there were no repercussions for thieves. So people would just steal shit and then like nothing would happen
that's
for
crazy, man.
dude, yeah. So
And
it got pretty wild.
people say Chicago is fucking Gotham City. At least we just got gun violence. We don't got that shit.
Gothic City.
Yeah, they call it Gotham City.
Alchemy's in Illinois.
I'm in Central Illinois. I'm from Chicago. I live in Central IL though. I actually love it down here, man. It's dope.
Do you? Nice, that's
Very
good.
dope. I live in
That's good.
farm country, so
But you
you
like where
know,
you're at?
yeah, yeah. I
Oh
love it.
yeah.
Like when I hear you describe California, I'm like, it's not so bad out here. I was tripping.
Well, that's the metropolitan areas where I live. I love where I live thoroughly. I
Okay.
mean, the policies are tend to be awful, and which means no one really can really afford to live here. It's kind of tough, which is why there's so many homeless people. Like it's insane. It's just people you can't. But where I live is next to Ohio, which is its own legit spiritual vortex. Ventura, which is along the beach. Ohio is up in the mountains, and
Okay.
I live at the foothills of those mountains, less than a
Wow.
mile away from a year-round creek that rages when it rains.
Man,
Um,
that's dope.
good earth, good planting,
Stay out
like
there.
rich
Stay out there.
soil to grow. Yeah, we're killing it here too. We are. It's just some spots of California are a little crazy right now.
Man, man. I will say though, Chicago is a war zone. I'll say that. They play Call of Duty. It's literally Call of Duty in action. For real,
Dude,
like you're a Call of Duty like back in the day when you used to play zombies and you can go in the trunk and find a weapon.
yeah,
That's like what they do is they'll drop a big crate of military weapons off South Side and they have fun.
dude, I heard them
Oh,
doing stuff like there were stories like that in LA during the riots where people were like, "Yeah, there was a pallet of bricks in an alley." Like, why was there a pile of bricks in an alley? They're sitting there next to the like, what? What do you what?
That's what they do, man. That's what they fucking do. So be a big military crate. It's like when you hear about the fucking weapons they have. It's like the military doesn't even let the military use those things in war. How do they have fucking switches, man? Fully automatic? What? You have 8-year-olds with fully automatic rifles walking around like it's like imagine a 10-year-old with a fully automatic rifle.
I
What are
know
they
it's
doing? Like
wild.
I don't did we have those when we were kids? Hell no. We had BB guns. We
Hey,
had
Super
Game Boy
Soakers,
SPs. We had Game Boy SPs, man, not fully automatic rifles.
dude. You know what we did have though were water balloon launchers,
Yeah.
and we
Damn.
would do some damage with. Dude, we'd be hucking those things like 2.5 blocks over, just not knowing where in God's name they went. Oh man, I
Crazy.
forgot about those.
Damn.
Dude, I
Water
forgot
balloon
about.
up. Man,
I forgot about. I gotta
I
get one of those, dude. It's been too long.
good super soaker fight with the water balloon launcher.
Just hucking them at the homies. Those things would launch a like a I don't know third pound jug of water at you at like 50 miles an hour.
That's pretty bogus.
Brandy. Oh, that's right, Brandy, New Orleans. Yes, let's trade Brandy. I would love to go back to New Orleans. Oh my goodness. Someone said they lived in a forest, by the way. Who lives in an enchanted forest? Because we're all coming to your house to party. Do you live in an
Yeah.
enchanted swamp forest? Can we go there, please? I would love that. It is beautiful, Lady Fire. All right, fill him up with God, dude. Yes, Brandy, my older brother
Yes.
filled it. I was just about to say that he
Pete.
peed
With
in his.
Pete.
My brother peed in his fucking dick, and I didn't realize it
Oh my
until it was
god.
too late.
Hitting you with the dirty surprise.
Oh man, he did, man. He put milk in it one time. That I guess that
Oh,
wasn't that bad. The urine was the worst one for sure. I don't know how we
sour
got it
milk.
in there,
Sour milk and urine. That'd be crazy.
dude. It was pretty gangster. It was uncalled for. It's uncalled for. WV, it's side by side on patrol. We have some guns here. The Beckley Gun Club is less than a mile away. It's funny, Phil got us. We are. Oh, thank you. Hey Matt, what was the variety of corn? Just look. I don't know the name because it's a native name, freaking Quetzalcoatl, some on some shit like that. But it's from Oaxaca, and if you just type in nitrogen fixating corn in Oaxaca, it'll pull it up. There's a few different. They've even started hybridizing that variety to where they have like big stalks. And so basically, you have your legumes, which they'll host nitrogen fixing organisms, but it happens underground. And it usually happens with legumes like peas. Some acacias are leguminous, so there's some trees, some plants, but corns usually is not known for that. But this corn, instead of it being in the roots below the ground, it produces a friggin' jelly. Like
Ah,
if you type it into image search, it actually looks
that's
super
crazy.
cool. It looks amazing. It's like a pinkish jelly substance that hangs from the aerial roots, the above ground roots, and the nitrogen fixing bacteria
That's fucking crazy. I ain't
lives
never heard
in
of corn
that
being looking
gel
like that.
and and straight from from the atmosphere pulls nitrogen into the plant. It's sorcery. And so I got some of those seeds. Now I'll be growing those next year. But one, if there's plenty of nitrogen in the ground, it won't do it because I guess it's pretty energy taxing to produce that gel. So if it's well fed, it's not going to do it. But if you grow it in poor soil, then it'll start producing that mucilage to make its own nitrogen. So it's pretty it's super cool. It's
That's
I got a
crazy. So
bunch of those.
you gotta let it do its own thing.
If you let it, yeah, if you were, yeah, so that would be if you're trying to freaking guerrilla grow a crop of corn or something out next to the creek, you'd want to plant these bad boys so that they can kind of fend for them. At least that's my idea. The creek I told you about earlier that I live next to, I
Hmm.
plan on.
Oh shit, man, he froze up. I can't even hear him now. Oh shit. Damn. What? I can still see you guys' comments, but I can't. It still says we're live though. So maybe I cut it out of my end. I just text them. I don't know. We might be just done for the night. Alright, let me see. Yeah, 11 people, 11 likes, guys. Keep it up. Yeah, Keith might be gone.